invited me to his place, and I was like, I know what he wants, but I won't give it. But then he said, I want to show you some videos.
Well, I had some hit pieces written on me in terms of toxic masculinity. They wrote this article about it. Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, David Meessen. I was like, all right.
You got kidnapped in Brazil?
I saw those 3 guys, and then they came with guns.
Around 95% of men get into relationships because for them it's the safest way to get sex consistently.
You don't remember this, but in 2018, I was on an interview with you, applied for one of your setter positions. The way she found out that we're in a relationship is somebody asked me in these Instagram Q&As, do you have a girlfriend? I said, yes. And then I tagged her.
Oh, I guess I have a boyfriend. Yeah.
You want to have a good relationship, a wife, the mother of your future children, whatever. You need to get abundance first. Where are you guys staying, by the way?
In some hotel, like 15 minutes from the beach.
Is it, oh, sick. Is it nice?
It's cool. It's all right, yeah. It's got good reviews. They're very nice. It's like small, but it's nice. You know?
Yeah, nothing baller, but does the trick. It was the same for us because we're going to be at the mastermind all day. We'll come here to go to sleep and that's it. Exactly. You know, that's why we got, and we were like, maybe we'll do a podcast or 2. So that's why we got it with the nice living room.
Yes. Yeah.
That's always like, we call it milkability.
Yeah.
Like if you can milk the place nicely,
that makes sense.
That's all there is.
Yeah,
but
it's much better from the inside than from the outside.
I was going to say, you never know. You don't notice on Airbnb how it looks from the outside. Like, where is it, right? And a lot of them are like nicely renovated inside, but then dog shit outside.
No, it looks from the outside, it looks like where I grew up in Germany. Like, very similar.
Oh, yeah? Where did you grow up in Germany?
You know Aachen?
Yeah.
But not even there. Like some little 3,000 people. Like you say, you're from a cow town, but literally my grandfather had sheep.
Oh,
like
nice.
3,000 people in the village. Not a lot of people, yeah.
So your grandfather was Irish? Is that where the genes come from?
I have no Irish in me.
Why do you look like
That's
Irish?
a good question.
You live in Ireland.
I know. I had
a
a very serious conversation with my mother. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Because nobody's ginger in my family. Do you know what she tells me? She goes, your great-great-grandfather, he was David. He had children with 6 different wives and he had red hair.
Oh.
That sounds totally made up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's funny because it's a recessive gene, right? Yeah. Gingerism or whatever it's
called.
Yeah,
that's the official term, yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So it could be that then it's like, you know, your mom had it within her and your dad had it within her, and then some random combination made it up that's just above 50%, and then boom.
Yeah.
You have siblings that are
I'll
ginger?
You, yeah. He looks more like you than like me.
No shit.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah.
That's funny.
I think I showed you the neck tattoo.
Oh yeah.
He has no ginger. He has no ginger in him. Remember when you said he committed to it?
So funny, man. Yeah. Are you sometimes sad that you got that brother and not the other guy?
No, and they tell you like, you better give me ginger baby.
Oh, all right.
It's funny because in Brazil we don't have like gingers, and when we see them, it's like, wow, they're so.
Are they like Lucky Charms?
Exactly.
I saw a ginger today.
It's favorable racism. Yeah, exactly.
Do they take photos with you in Brazil?
I haven't been to Brazil. I haven't been.
Oh, really?
No, I haven't.
Wait, how did you meet?
Oh, she lived in Dublin.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I've never been to Brazil. I've never been to Latin America anywhere.
I'm so confused. So you're from Germany. You're not Irish. You're randomly in Dublin. You meet a Brazilian woman. And what did you do in Dublin?
Yeah, I was studying.
Okay.
And then I was with my sister. She came to visit me. And then we were in some pub.
Oh.
I was there.
There you go.
Yeah, he approached me.
But I've been living in Ireland for like 10 years.
What did you say to her?
Like,
what was your opener?
My opener was like, if you keep, because so here was the thing. I thought she was looking at me. It was fucking hilarious, right? But I was actually with a friend of mine. He has like long flowing black hair. She was looking in my direction. A year and a half later, I found out she wasn't even looking at me. But I was like, if you keep looking at me like that, you're gonna make me feel like a piece of meat. How dare you?
Yeah.
That was a good opener. I like it.
Yeah,
I was like, excuse me, I just saw you. Like,
how dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me.
But it got worse. So I was like, are you from Argentina? She goes, no, I'm from Brazil. So I know that the word for dog in Brazil is cachorro.
Yeah.
Right? But I was like, okay, let me be smart because I can be like, let me make it female, cachorra.
Yeah.
Problem is that means whore. Oh. Right? So I was like, so I did not, and her sister was there. So her sister starts going crazy at me, but it was with a friend. He was winging the sister.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually she calmed down a little bit. Like if I hadn't had her, we wouldn't be speaking right now.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then you know, like the stereotype of the Latina, and he comes and called me like cachorra. I was like, what the fuck are you talking? Yeah, and my sister was very bad. Don't say that.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
She's not interested. You know? It's so funny we have the mirror because I see when you guys are looking at yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, oh yeah.
I'm like, because I forget that we have a freaking mirror.
You're like, what the fuck is he looking at?
Yeah, like so.
On fleek. Yeah.
All right, so you were studying economy.
Economy.
I don't know. You look like a girl that would study economy.
Sociology
Almost.
and anthropology.
Okay. And is that what you're doing right now?
No, now I'm working with him.
All right.
Yes.
So you're like, you guys are 50-50 or
No.
what's the, how, if I may ask, what's the business deal there?
No, I do like a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But he's the boss still.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're on his payroll.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Percentage or flat base?
No, flat.
Okay.
But it's like it's unofficial because I just like whatever I have, she has, you know. So it's.
Anyways.
share, so,
yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so badass.
Yeah.
Did you tell how did you tell her that you're dating coach? And I'm asking you this because I've, as a business consultant, I've worked with many dating coaches. And for some random reason, they all think it needs to be a secret. They're like,
yeah, exactly.
They're like, because I'm like, I don't know if I was the one who originally had the idea of like having an attractive female interview you for Instagram Reels. I've done this with many of my clients, and then I saw everybody comping it. But I'm not sure if somebody else had that idea before. And they're like, but how do I get a girl to be on my Instagram? And I'm like, well, tell her that's for your business. But they don't know. So apparently all these dating coaches tell all these women that they have random jobs. Like, I work at McDonald's or something, So how was it with you? Were you open about this right away?
I wasn't doing it full time at the time. I was still working in tech at the time for one of the big tech companies. I was building it on the side. I was doing it part-time on the side, but I did tell you pretty...
Not like directly, it was just... I found out like maybe a year later.
Oh,
and
really?
I was listening to the conversation, and with his friends and then clients.
Because I wasn't doing it full time. My main job was I was in tech. And then, but how did we talk about it? Because...
I don't even remember
because I was making content from the beginning. Like I was still already filming videos, and I have one funny story to tell.
All right.
Like, by the way, you don't remember this, but in 2018, I was on an interview with you. I applied for one of your setter positions with you and Albin, and it was the most hilarious. It was the most hilarious shit. I was still working for Salesforce at the time.
That is so funny.
And that was around the time that we met. And I swear to God, it was hilarious because I was like, "Hey man, amazing stuff, so great, right? Would like to come." And I was totally willing to relocate to Kiev. The only problem was, I was like, "Yeah, maybe after work hours, maybe I can use your cameras to film content." And you were like, "Mate, you're absolutely not right for us." You're like, "Absolutely not." You're like, "I'm not worried about you, but definitely this is not right for you." I was like, "Fuck."
Damn.
That was hilarious.
That's how fast it goes.
Yeah.
I remember we had a guy, we were ruthless with these applicants. I remember that. There was one guy who drank out of a plastic bottle. And that's it. On the interview. It was because, so it was always like me and one of our partners on Zoom together with the person that we interviewed. And then we had a secret chat where we would kind of like just real time write our thoughts. Like, oh, I don't like this guy, or hey, that was interesting. And then this guy drank out of his plastic bottle, and the note was like, drinks out of a plastic bottle. And I'm like, yeah, denied. like right away. Yeah, like right away. I don't like his plastic bottle.
Brokey. That's hilarious.
So maybe that's why, because I'm like, you always seem familiar to me. I'm like, I just kind of see his face. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah,
man.
in 2018, yeah. And then it was around the time that we met. No, we met in 2019. 2019, 5 years now, exactly. And I was working in Salesforce. I was filming content. But you did find out sooner because I was making Instagram stories already about dating content, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't. But I've never heard about this dating.
Because you're a hot girl. That's why. Like, guys need to learn that.
Exactly.
You just stand around and guys come to you.
I thought it was like in Brazil it's more common. Like guys just go and approach, and then in Europe it's not that common.
Yeah.
And then
weird,
I wasn't like fully aware he was doing this, but I was like, yeah, but he's also like,
sorry, keep going.
No, like posting stories and videos with girls and interviewing people.
But we must have had a conversation about it because I don't remember exactly. But the way she found out that because we dated non-exclusively for a year, and then the way she found out that we're in a relationship is somebody asked me in these Instagram Q&As, "Do you have a girlfriend?" I said yes, and then I tagged her, and that's
and then he sent me, and I was, I guess I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's how you found out as well, similarly.
Kinda.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my girlfriend's coming later. And
I
told...
No.
Anina, we were hanging out with Anina.
Exactly.
And she said something that, you had referred me as a girlfriend.
Exactly.
I'm like, what?
It's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and I came to you like, Maxi has said that I'm your girlfriend. Like, what's that? And you were like, but you're not? Like, of course you're my girlfriend.
Yeah.
What?
I promoted you, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Be happy. Yeah. That is very funny that it was almost the same. Oh, but you tagged her. That's even funnier.
Yeah, I tagged her in it. Yeah.
You did you get like creepy dudes reaching out to you?
Yeah, there was that guy.
How is it?
There was one guy, I remember, he was in the social, and then he started like, even though he knew
The one guy I don't like.
yes,
Oh, that guy's a piece of shit. Yeah.
like
Right.
he knew we were together, even though we weren't like officially like girlfriend and boyfriend. And then he was asking me out, and I said no, but why are you not single? And then I was, I'm single, but...
Because we were still dating non-exclusively at the time.
Okay, so this random guy, just walk me through, so this random guy that you met somewhere?
At dancing. So we do bachata and salsa, and our friend, he runs a dance school in Dublin, right?
Okay.
And people know us,
But
right?
he was there, you were there with him at the dance school, and the guy still hit on you, or what?
He knew we were together, but that guy was a piece of shit. Pardon my French, right? There's not a lot of people I dislike, but that guy was a fucking weasel.
I mean,
okay?
that's probably, he runs the dance school? or
No.
was it
The guy who runs the dance school is a friend of ours.
Okay.
And the other guy who's like the second like head coach, he's also a friend of ours.
Okay.
Right? And like that guy is just a fucking weasel in existence. I don't know.
He just goes to dance schools to try to pick up girls.
Exactly,
Probably.
yeah.
Probably. And then he goes, but is he your boyfriend? And I was like, yeah, he's not my boyfriend. But then I took the opportunity and I showed him like, so there's that guy, he wants to go on a date, but that they want to. And then he asked me if you are my boyfriend. So you're not my boyfriend, right?
And it was pretty much soon after that I then made it exclusive. I was like, fuck that guy.
Okay, I'm gonna
And-
take her.
Then he gave up? Or did it then get even weirder?
That's a good question. I don't think he gave up immediately, right?
Not immediately.
No, he tried a couple more times. And that piece of shit, I met him in the gym, right? And he's like all friendly with me, and I'm on the bag and I'm kicking the shit out of the bag. Because I train karate for like, I'm not a professional fighter or anything, but I have some experience, right? I trained for 6 years, was teaching at my university, and I'm at the bag, and he's like all friendly with me. And then behind my back, that fucking weasel hits on her. Yeah.
See it as a compliment, man.
Yeah, true.
Because here's kind of like the thing with us men. It's like, we don't want anyone hitting on our woman, but we also kind of want people to hit on our woman, because if they didn't, it's kind of weird too. Like, wait a minute. She's really hot. Why is nobody hitting on her? You know?
I agree, and I don't think it's a problem if they do it once, but if they do it persistently, imagine like, hey bro, she's with me, and then they do it 3-4 more times. Then I'm like, bro, you're in danger right now. Be careful.
That's a good point.
You're right, because like if nobody wants to hit on your girlfriend, you're also like, I'm doing something wrong here. You know?
Like, what is it? What's going on? Is it me? Do I have a weird taste? It's a funny dynamic, you know. And then you start okay, you find out that he teaches dating, even though you had no clue that exists. And then when did you transition into actually being in his videos, being supportive? Was that right away, or how did the idea come up? Because to backpedal real quick, for folks you don't know, you're pretty fucking big on Instagram. You got 1 million followers now. You showed me yesterday, you got like 40,000 views on your stories, which is, by the way, very, very good for 1 million followers.
It's 130 now.
130,000?
Yeah.
Well, there you fucking go.
Yeah,
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I know people that get 1 million, that have 1 million followers, that get like 5,000 views on
But
stories.
I have to give a caveat. That's not normal. My normal story views are 6,000. This one is because we had a call to action in it, so people responded to it. That's why I went that high.
Yeah, but still, it's phenomenal. Okay. It's very, 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 very good. Yeah. Especially nowadays. Like when stories came out first, nobody was using them. It was easier, but nowadays it's pretty good. So you got a very, very good organic brand. Thank you. Very good engagement, good view to follower ratio, all that jazz. So that's the context. And then how did that start with you involved in it?
I think it was the beginning of the pandemic. Actually, I was just holding, remember the camera? He was making content for TikTok.
Yeah, I started because I was making YouTube videos for 4 or 5 years, but they all sucked, right? They weren't like yours. Mine sucked. And it was first self-defense videos in German.
Okay.
Then my brother didn't want to get beaten up in front of the camera anymore. So I was like, I need to find something where I can just talk in the camera. Then it was personal development. Then the whole thing with my ex-wife happened because I got married when I was 23.
All right.
And I was
the
working
plot
for
thickens.
Yeah, and then before we met, I was like the biggest cuck in the world with this. Like I was really, really bad. Got married to somebody, she wasn't right for me at all. And then when I was working for Salesforce, I met somebody who was in this dating pickup space for a while. He learned from a lot of different people. And then I started learning from him after, and things started going out. And then I started like building things on the side a little bit, the personal development content. And then in June 2020, you started helping me film, but you weren't in it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Only a year and a half, beginning of 2022, I think you started coming into the videos.
Yes.
We realized, it makes sense. Like if she's in it, guess what? 10 times the views. What an epiphany that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that took a year and a half to figure out.
Yeah.
And then, but in the beginning, she was like holding the phone, like making TikTok videos. Because I started with TikTok in June 2020, and in 6 weeks, I got 100,000 subscribers from zero, because it was like big, right, at the time. And then TikTok, and then we started Instagram a year and a half later. Yeah, and then you came into the videos, and then it took off once she was in it.
Even though like I didn't like that much, like videos, camera, because if you see like my profile is like low profile, I think 2/3 of my followers are his followers. He doesn't follow me because I don't post. I think last post I did about 2 years ago, something like that. And then he was like convincing me, no, it's gonna be cool, just relax. And I was
Yeah, sick. Yeah. How does it feel now? Has your thought about it changed?
Still? Yeah. No, now I'm more relaxed. I know like it helps with the business, and I'm more, I don't know, relaxed. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
Because we have fun together.
I think that's the most important thing, that you always see it as a fun kind of thing you do together, which doesn't always work for me personally, because I'm often stressed when I'm having to shoot and I have to be on point. And then like you got it can really fucking suck. I'll tell you that. But then also like it's a very much momentum based activity. So sometimes you're super in the zone and you just bang out like 50, 60 reels and it's easy. But sometimes it can be very hard to get in. But what was I going to ask? It's a difficult question, but have you ever thought of, if you guys break up and with you being involved in it so much, do you guys have ever thought about a contingency plan, what to do?
I have thought about it.
Okay.
And obviously, because I don't just do dating, I also do relationship. So that thought is even, if I were to just do dating, it'd be like, no problem.
Whatever,
right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Just keep it. But in that case, I thought about it, but I realized, well, I'm going to cross that bridge if it gets there. And there's no sign of like it happening right now. I don't think it will. And if it were to ever happen, maybe I'm doing something else at that point. Like the only thing that I would ever transition into is probably personal development, right? Because I'm not a business guy, right? I know you made a transition, which is fucking awesome, by the way. Much respect for that.
Thanks, man.
No, really, really. But for me, I think I like the personal development aspect like more so than the business side. So I'd probably transition into that. But it's not something that's relevant right now. So I haven't put too much thought into it. But I thought about it. In the moment, it was like, oh yeah, well, what if it happens? But then again, like, what if it's not a reality right now? You know?
Yeah. Okay. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, would be cool. Like, not cool. I would just like let him keep the videos. I wouldn't say, hey,
that's
take
cool.
it all down.
That's really cool.
Because I think like you can't change like your past, and then it won't like affect me in any way.
Have you gotten better at shooting videos or being in front of the camera over time? You notice a difference?
Maybe he did notice. I don't know.
Of course you have.
Yeah. Sure. Because I used to be very, very shy and introverted. I was like. But then when we are going for a shoot, and then I'm okay, just breathe, that's your job, and and then I have fun. It's fun.
That's dope. Yeah. Did you often have to shoot videos and like, I didn't like how my hair looked, let's shoot it again?
Oh yeah, usually, especially like lights.
Oh yeah,
because if there's like a light on top of me, and then I don't think it's cool, because and then the shadow, and I always have like my little mirror.
Oh, yeah,
that mirror triggers the fuck out of me, right? We're sitting there and we like need to record her hooks, and then we record her hooks first, and then I do my rant, because it's easy, you know, like that's how you get into it. And then she's like, but the mirror's
and then
it's traumatic.
Yeah.
But dude, because you mentioned lights, your videos look super highly produced.
Oh, thank you.
Like
much.
they look really, really nice. They look like studio quality.
Thank you so much.
What's the thing behind it? Do you have experience with lighting? Do you have a guy that comes there? Is it a studio that you shoot in? How does it look like?
So I have a full-time videographer because we live in that building. So that's an apartment building. It's like a nice apartment building in Dublin. And so the apartment is big. So the videographer works there full time.
Yeah.
And we go downstairs and that's where we record it.
Ah, that is sick. So these are shots in a studio.
No, they are in the apartment complex. They're part, This is part of this fancy
business lounge
building.
thing. Okay,
that kind of thing. Exactly. Yeah,
Got it. What light setup do you have? Do you have like one big light with a diffuser on it?
I think just one, exactly. Lighting can actually be improved because we have a new videographer who's starting soon, and he was like, "Yeah, we can make a lot of improvements with the lighting, but it's just one."
Okay.
But we also have like these top lights because like the ceilings are insanely high, so they have like lights coming from the top, and then we have one coming from the side. Yeah.
Is this literally shot in your bedroom?
That's in our bedroom.
You guys sitting on the bed? That's so funny. That is so funny. What do you, in terms of business, do you notice a difference with the location where you shoot? Like the one where you're sitting on the bed gets more engagement because guys think you guys are about to have sex or something?
For a while, we noticed an intick, but then when we did more in the bedroom, it went down a little bit. So, for example, I had some on performance issues, right? That got a couple million views. I was like, she's like, basically, I scripted that one perfectly. Whereas like she's like, it starts with her zipping up, and I'm like, I'm sorry. She goes, it never happened to me before, you know? That one got a couple million. So it depends. If it's more bedroom related, it gets more views.
Yeah.
But in general, it's like, it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah. But one thing that I did found, one format that works extremely well, the best performing format for us, is a little skit of, this is like the gold, if anybody wants to go, like 5 to 8 seconds acted and then into teaching. It's like, we had one go viral recently about the phone, right? Can I see your phone? I go, no, right? And she goes, yeah, back and forth. And then I go into the explanation of it.
Yeah. How many of the ideas are yours versus yours?
Pretty much like 99%.
98%, I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they come from you, or you have an ideas guy, or?
I would say maybe 5% are my videographers. Every now and then he has great ideas as well. Matthias has really good ideas. And mine are just listening to clients, looking up what's trending, what are subjects people want to. Every now and then I ask ChatGPT. Now the problem with ChatGPT is it's complete PC nonsense at this stage.
Vanilla, yeah.
But it still gives you good ideas. So for example, one idea that I didn't have was, it's a video that got 9 million views that brought us 50,000 followers from one video. We posted that a year ago or so in Malaga. It's basically her acting out her being late for the date, right? And then I basically say, if she's late for the date and she doesn't apologize, she won't make for a great wife, right? And that was like triggering, right? So, but that idea, her being late for the date, came from ChatGPT. But I took the hook, I rechanged the idea a little bit, and then I made it mine, right? Because a lot of the ideas is just like, just be yourself, just be nice, be authentic, you know?
Yeah. I noticed that too with ChatGPT. It's too vanilla. It has some good ideas if you know how to handle it and if you don't take everything at face value. Now, you guys, we're here in Cannes at a mastermind for folks don't know, and it's pretty cool, right? I'm here with my girlfriend. We traveled here for like four days. She's actually flying in a couple hours. I'm flying back tomorrow because we're still shooting stuff. And you guys are also traveling quite a lot, or are you staying in Dublin most of the time? How is it? Yeah,
we travel quite a bit. As in, like, I would say maybe once a month or so. But,
wow.
But maybe mainly because the weather in Dublin is bad, right? It just gets depressing. So we go to Barcelona or Malaga.
Or Germany.
Or Germany to visit my mom. My mom lives on Chiemsee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we're going to go visit her, yeah.
Malaga, where exactly?
Malaga is the south of Spain.
Yeah. So just there, or you go to...
Malagueta.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you been?
Around.
No, we'll be there in 2 weeks or something, pretty much. When are we going to Marbella?
18th. So that's...
Yeah, it's in like 10 days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We have a full podcast tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like we'll be gone for like 6 weeks.
Amazing.
Non-stop podcast.
Wow.
And it keeps being more, and I'm like adding people in already. Like,
man, you've had some awesome guests. I've had a look at them. Really cool.
I don't know how it happened. It's just completely it's like a beast that grows itself. Yeah. I had one guest in my head when I said I want to have guests on, and that was Christoph Heuermann. And he was at the mastermind as well.
Okay,
the tall guy.
Oh, yeah.
The German
the traveler.
Guy. Yeah, the guy who was on the South Pole.
The South Pole. Yeah, exactly.
How Ty was like, who here has been to Sao Paulo? And he's like, South Pole? Yeah. That's so funny. So I had him. I'm like, I could have him on a podcast, and then I'd have to figure something out to get guests. And it was just like, and then next we got another person, and then so on and so forth. And it just keeps going like that.
Awesome.
And now I literally have to schedule 6 weeks ahead.
Amazing.
To even have the time to get everybody on, and it's really cool. And the cool thing too is like a lot of people are like, oh, could you then be on my podcast too? So then we just do 2 podcasts in one day.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's great. And especially, I mean, dude, you should do a podcast as well. You too, especially. That's why I thought we should have both of you on. Because this whole man-female dynamic thingy is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to convince me, but I'm like, oh no, I can't.
So this is your first podcast you're on? Hell yeah.
Yes, I was panicking since yesterday. Oh my god, no.
She was like, yeah, I would tell her I'm introverted, you know?
I was like, when I asked you guys, like, you should be on my podcast, you're like, yeah. And you're like,
Exactly what I told
why did he
him.
say yes already?
She's like,
I was like, David, if I do this and then you save me. We have like a code. If
I was like, it's going to be a camera. She's like, doesn't matter.
First of all, you guys are doing great. And like I said, like, I really recommend it if you, because
good idea.
there's a lot of, like, if you think about the podcast formats, there's a classic podcast format, which I'm doing is like, I talk to a guest or get two guests. Then there's people like Michael Sartain, good friend of mine. He'll be on the podcast too, by the way, in LA. Fuck, I have to schedule it. And his is basically like him and like 10 girls. Yeah. Right? It's so funny. It's like they're all like Playboy models and whatnot, and they're all talking about like drama and hoeing and the guys being assholes and girls being assholes. But then I don't know a lot of great podcasts where it's actually a couple and both are good looking and both are interesting. And then on top of that, you talk about the dynamics between male and female, but it's also from a couple's dynamic, right? So Michael Sartain is very much about like single life and, you know, sleeping around, for lack of a better term. But this whole idea of like relationships, right? Like you said, you're not only a dating coach, but you guys are doing relationship coaching as well. I think that would be really fucking interesting.
I think that's an interesting point. We're gonna do it.
You should really.
I'm trying to get her to commit to it right now.
Yeah, exactly. On camera.
Why did you bring it up?
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw Michael Sartain's podcast because they were talking about one of my videos.
Oh, really?
In the podcast, yeah.
No shit.
They brought it up, and it was like somebody sent it to me. One of my friends sent it to me. He was, oh, look, they talked about your video, where I basically say, don't do coffee dates for the first date. And so his interpretation, I think it was, he thought that my reasoning for saying that is, this guy looks wealthy, therefore he's probably been burnt and he doesn't want to attract gold diggers, right?
That's what he thought about you.
I think that was his own interpretation of it, right? But I just think is like the main reason I don't want you to do it is, I don't exactly remember his interpretation, right? But basically they were talking about, it was my main reasoning behind it is just, it's better to just do drinks. I say don't do dinner necessarily, but just do alcohol-free, I don't drink alcohol, right? Just do alcohol-free drinks in a bar because it's inherently a bit more romantic. Yeah, you can do coffee date, you know better than anybody. You can do dates at any point in time, but for most people, it's just easier inherently if they just do drinks in a bar, right? So they were talking about one of them in the podcast, and then he asked all the girls, it was like what they prefer, and a lot of girls were like, yeah, I'm cool with coffee dates. Yeah, I'm cool with coffee dates. And I was like, no, I need dinner, right? So I was like, it depends. I was like, oh, all right.
What was your first date? You can't even remember.
No, it was drink. It was funny because he invited me to that pub, but it's also like a hotel. And I didn't know, and then I went straight to the reception. I was like, oh my god, the guy is inviting me to a hotel. He has like second like thoughts. And then I asked in the reception, and they said, oh no, there's a pub behind. And then I was in that very like corner.
Yeah, you picked the most remote corner in the whole place.
I was gonna say, so you arrived first.
Yeah.
And you picked the most remote corner. That's always a good sign. Yeah. Were you coming in? He's like, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
Maybe he won't see me.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. You were hoping he would just leave. It's like, oh, she's not here. I'll go home again.
It was one of the most famous pubs so Temple Bar is not a bar. It's an area, right?
I know Temple Bar.
Yeah.
I did coachings there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fuck.
Yeah.
In Dublin.
A friend of mine, I think years ago, he was at one of your free tours in Dublin.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then, yeah, exactly. So it was in one of the pubs in the Temple Bar area there. In that area, it's Fitzsimons. So it wasn't some like sketch here, like let's drive 17 minutes to this random pub. It was pretty central. But yeah, we just met for drinks, right? Yeah.
And then we shared like one cider. One drink.
One cider, yeah.
And then how far did he go on the first date? If you don't mind me.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, so he played something that he teaches.
What do you mean he played the video?
No, some games, like palm reading.
Yeah, we did something called the question game, right? We just like ask each other a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Because the thing is now, whatever, like she's listened to coaching calls for 5 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
So she sees.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You've done this on me.
Exactly. Every now and then there's something new that he says, and I remember.
Because now she sees the structure behind it. Before it just like feels organically. Oh, it's normal.
This is such a fun day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and then basically I was like, yeah, you keep telling me the story.
Yeah. So when I arrived there at the hotel, I had in my mind, okay, I have my excuse. It won't happen today. He's planning to. And then we were there talking, and then he invited me to his place, and I was like, I know what he wants, but I won't give it. But then he said, I want to show you some videos that I made. No, let's go to my place just for a little bit, because tomorrow morning I need to wake up early. I was okay, it sounds safe. But even
false time
Close
constraint.
FTC,
just for a little bit, I was, he doesn't want to stay whole night. That's a good sign. And then he was, because I filmed some video with in the place my mom's live, and I was like, okay, he's mentioning his mom, so he must be like.
He can't be a murderer if he has a
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I was okay, just for a little bit, and then we were there, and actually he showed me the video you were making. And then
I didn't just jump on you the second we're in. We're like,
you have
come
to
here.
do the thing.
Yeah, do the thing.
he actually has the video to show me. I was like, okay. It was a bit confusing, Alex. Like, he wouldn't invite me to his place just to show me some video. And I was waiting for the strike, you know.
Oh, all right, the strike.
but I had my plan. And then he tried to, and so, I'm sorry, I'm on my period. Even though I wasn't, but I was like, no.
I know, right?
Is that a thing? Do girls say that? Just to not?
I don't know. I did say it.
Did you then write it in your calendar and you're like, I'm not going to invite her 28 days after this?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is the window. This is the window. And it's actually funny because, yeah, you keep telling the story.
I don't know.
And then basically, like, the next time that it happened, we went on another date, and then
and then
went for burgers or something, right?
Yeah, for burgers.
Yeah.
He invited me for burgers. I was again like safe because he's inviting me for burgers. So what does he want? I don't know. In my mind was like, if the guy wants to have sex in the day, he should invite me for drinks, alcohol drinks, and then get to the point. But then burgers, I was okay, maybe. Yeah, but then the second date it happened. Yeah. But not in the first, because I was, even though for me he's super handsome, I was like, oh my God, he's so handsome. But I don't want him to think like I'm holy if I do in the first date, even though I want to have him, but I didn't want him to think I was okay, I'm gonna hold. If he invited me for a second date, and then maybe because I can't like lose the opportunity also. I was maybe I want to have like the third opportunity. The guy for me is so handsome. And then it happened.
It's funny because even though I've been teaching dating before this business for almost 10 years, that's still an interesting perspective I've never thought of like, I mean, I've thought about this whole idea of like, well, I like him, but I also don't want to come across as easy. That's why I'm not going to sleep with him right away. But then I never thought of, but I kind of should sleep with him because I don't want to miss the opportunity. He could lose interest, or die, whatever, get hit by a car, and I can't have sex with this handsome guy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, if I don't do a handsome guy like that, he won't give me like the third opportunity.
And I wouldn't have. I genuinely wouldn't have. At that point, I wouldn't have. There wouldn't have been a third date. Sounds horrible. I'm not advocating that. But do fifth dates. I don't care. I just wouldn't have at that point. Yeah.
Did you ever have a situation like that where you were really into a guy and you just didn't want to seem easy and then you lost him because he lost interest or anything like that?
No, because before him I had like 2 boyfriends, very long term, like 5 to 6 years and then 10 years. I used to say to my sister, I was like out of the market. And then when we broke up, I was like silly. I didn't even know how to behave. And she was, Fernanda, you're too silly. If the guy, you need to learn how to flirt. I was like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, and then, no, I haven't lost any.
So you've always gotten what you wanted.
Yeah.
Damn. You know how weird that is as a guy? Like, that's so unreal of a reality. Like,
all these, yes, they're all mine.
Yeah. Oh
rejection after rejection.
I never like approached the guy.
You approached a guy once?
No, so you said you never.
No, I never.
Oh, you never approached a guy.
Yeah, I never.
Okay.
Because even though like I like this guy, but if he doesn't come to me, I will
Fuck him. Fuck this guy, yeah.
But that's actually crazy, right? Because even though that's like, you used to teach that, I teach that. If you don't go over, 99% of the time you do an approach, she's not going to be the one. There's not just one, but like you won't end up with her. But then you don't know when it's actually going to happen, right? Be that on Tinder, you don't know. I didn't know. I just saw, really hot, but that's all I knew before I saw. I was like, let's go and find out, right? And then like 5 years later,
Yeah, it's not because like I want him to approach me. Like it's just because I was like shy, like if he doesn't approach me, maybe he's not interested in me. And then I was like,
Well, for most guys are interested, we just don't know how, or we do know how, but we're too insecure. For me, it was always I'll do it in a minute. Just this other thing real quick first. Let me just think about the movie I watched recently. Like I would just have random excuses, and then the girl would be gone, and I'm like, fuck. that was always me. Before I then obviously learned it and figured it out for myself. So it's always funny to hear those stories, how it started and what you thought of that. So that was your perspective. How was your perspective? You're like more systematic.
A little more systematic, a little more process oriented, a little more German.
Okay.
It was just, I was out. So I got married when I was 23.
Wow.
Right. So I was out and I was single, and I was very happy being single. I never had a dating life as such. I didn't know how to approach. And the funny thing is, it's not like I lacked confidence in general. Like I'm not a professional UFC fighter, but I was like, I trained karate for 6 years, 7 times a week.
Wow.
4 to 7 times a week or something. Right? So like I am fairly physically capable in that sense. So it's not like I lack confidence in general, but with girls it was different. Right? And so when I was working for Salesforce, I met my mentor, and then I started going out with him. And then I was just so happy being single. So I wasn't looking for a relationship because it was like, oh, that was actually crazy. I got a lot of experience, right? And then I was like, before I met you, I already had this idea. I was like, I always wanted to do coaching. I wanted to be a life coach since I was 16, right? And then this dating thing happened. I was like, well, this is like, dating is like the perfect application of personal development, right? And so we just met, and then I was dating several people at the same time. And then you were like, you stood out. And then I was like, what actually happened was we were dating for 3 months, and it was Christmas, and I got really sick, and she took really good care of me. I was like, oh, wow, that nurturing side. I really like that. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, that's unusual, because you can meet people that you have a lot of physical chemistry with, but then it's either lacking in IQ, or it's either lacking in, or it's either lacking in personality fit or values. But then if you meet somebody, perfect doesn't exist. But if you can get somebody who is like really high on all of those, you're like, oh, wow, this is interesting, right?
Yeah.
And then we did date non-exclusively for 12 months, and then I made that official.
We lived together for like...
We lived together before we were exclusive.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
6
That's
months.
funny. Damn. It's I always say around 95% of men get into relationships because for them it's the safest way to get sex consistently. And once the average man, if ever, figures out how to still get sex quote unquote consistently without being in a relationship, there's usually very little incentive for that man to even get in a relationship in the first place, because for them it's like they usually have had a bad or multiple bad relationships in the past. So they're very tainted in this regard. They're like, okay, it's toxic. I don't have my freedom. The girl is letting herself go. We lose interest in each other, and so on and so forth. And then I just figured out how to just go out and have sex from many different women. So why the hell would I go in a relationship again? It only has downsides for me, right? And then the whole dynamic for women kind of combines into that, because women want men that have a lot of options. Women don't want the loners that can't get any girls. Nobody wants that, right? You said it yourself, like, handsome man, you don't want to lose him. Like, if he hadn't been someone that is good with women, you wouldn't have to worry about losing him, because you'd know, oh yeah, this guy is so fucking desperate. And that would, of course, take the pepper out of it for you as well. So now 90% of men go for 90% of women go for the top 10% of men that don't need to go in a relationship, but they want to. So, and that's where this whole dynamic really starts getting interesting. And it takes a very, very high quality woman to then keep one of these very, very high quality men, because like you said, those men's standards are so high. They know exactly what they don't want. They know exactly what they want, and they have access to a lot of other women. So for that one special woman to come in and have such an incentive for the man to get in a relationship with her, she needs to be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, for the man, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's usually when I look at couples that have been together for a long time that are very happy and very healthy in a relationship together. It's usually because the man had a lot of abundance, and then out of that abundance picked that woman because she was a good choice, not because she was the first one that didn't fucking run away. Yeah. She was the best thing I could get, you know? No, it's the best thing out of many different things that you could choose from.
Yeah.
And that's why I've taught dating for so long in the way I taught it. I'm like, if you want to have a good relationship, a wife, the mother of your future children, whatever, you need to get abundance first. Yeah. This whole Hollywood idea of she's gonna, run into you in the fucking library, like she's gonna bump into your books and then your hands touch when you try to pick the books back up, like, oh my God. No, like chances are that the perfect woman or the almost perfect woman was already there. Yeah. You didn't have the fucking balls to talk to her. Instead, you got drunk in the corner with your fucking beta male buddies. Or she was at the same party, but then she picked the other guy that just randomly had the situational confidence to talk to her. So this whole idea of like the perfect woman will come. Yes, she will come, but you need to be ready when she does.
Yeah, 100%. Because if I hadn't done so many approaches before her, I would not have been able to do that.
Exactly.
Because to walk over, this is what you guys don't understand, right? It's so difficult for a man to walk across like a bar to see you from like, there's, on these 11 meters, there's 27 excuses that can come to our head that can make us not do it, right? Like, we don't want to get rejected. We don't want to get rejected in front of other people.
In front of everyone.
In front of everyone. In front of your sister. Like, it's so bad. In front of our friends. We're trying to look cool. Right? Probably don't approach either, right? We're just trying to be too cool for school, who greatly exaggerate the quality as well as quantity of women they've been with. Right? But that's so threatening. If I hadn't done that so many times before, then, but the funny thing is the clients who come to me, they just want a relationship, which is awesome. But I tell them, you need, like, that period, that time frame X where you date. It has to exist. For some, it's going to be a couple of months. For some, it's going to be a year or two, right? Or even longer. Yeah. It's individual. But I tell them, my job is keeping them out of the wrong relationship. They're like, I want to go in a relationship with her. I was like, no. Like BPD, narcissist, this, or whatever label I want to slap on it for comedic purposes, right? But it's like, no, this is a red flag that you're not aware of. Because these guys, as you know, they can't read red flags for shit. Nothing. They're like, yo, what about this? For example, I was on a call with a client yesterday. He runs a hedge fund in London. Yeah. And in the middle of the night, I'm on the fucking rowing machine, hating my life, right? Exercising because I had fucking chocolate, had to burn it off. And he calls me and he goes, well, so yeah, this girl that I was talking to, basically, you know this, typical texting mistake. He's talking about XYZ, they're talking about XYZ. Then he asks her out. She responds to the other part of the message, but ignores the invite and continues with the rest of the conversation. And he ignores the fact that she ignored it. I was like, she will lose all respect for you at that point in time. You are such a cuck in her eyes. What are you doing? Right? It's impossible for her to not lose respect for you because she knows that she ignored it. And she's fully aware that you're ignoring the fact that she ignored it. So like, call her out on it, be nice about it. But what I would just do is reply to yourself, question mark, boom.
Exactly.
That's it. What about this? Because I asked, what would you do in business? Imagine you ask somebody to come out and be like, he ignores it. Yeah, great weather. Would you want to meet today? Yeah, great weather. That's it. Are you fucking,
And it's funny because so many of these men, they're crushing it in all other areas of life. I'm sure you've had this too. There's like soldiers who literally been to combat. Yeah. Right? Leading people into combat. Extreme sports people, entrepreneurs, like millionaires that have like 500 people on their payroll that are fucking tough ass negotiators, right? They would negotiate for millions of dollars, but they can't negotiate a fucking dinner date with a 20-year-old girl. You know what I mean? That has, no offense, that has nothing going for her other than being pretty and maybe be, some 20-year-old girls I'm sure have things going for them, but the average 20-year-old girl hasn't really done much in her life yet, other than being pretty. That would justify being an interesting person, other than having won the genetic lottery. And then here you are, like a badass guy that is like 30, 35, multiple years older, and you can't handle it. And it's such a strange thing. And like you said, no shit, the woman won't respect you because she's like, well, he's Mr. fucking hedge fund manager, can't even fucking
and
call me out.
I wonder why the responses are getting slower and she's not responding as much anymore. And then see her in the bar with her friends and with her male best friend. I was like, all right, yeah, of course, that's why.
What do you think? If you look at, and I'll be super curious about your perspective as well, Fernanda. The over the years, has it gotten worse with guys, the social dynamics aspect, have they gotten weirder, shyer, more awkward? Same? Have they gotten better?
For me, it's difficult to say because it's very different, like Europe and Brazil. Like our culture, it's very different. I feel like in Europe, the guys, they don't approach. And there is some like Brazilian community on Facebook and girls talk like, what's happening? If I don't invite a guy for a drink, he won't invite me.
Oh.
If I don't say, so are you gonna like kiss or not? You know, it seems to be like very slow, but it's been like 5 years I'm in Ireland now. I don't know. Like in Brazil, I know when I go to Brazil, like the guys, they're very much like, they look at you and then they just come and talk to you. But still, same time in Europe, somewhere, like the guys just like...
Ah, that's funny.
You know, so I don't know if it got worse or it's different.
I think in Europe for sure, because I don't have data on it. But if we go back 100 years ago, I cannot imagine our great-grandfathers not introducing themselves. I don't know. How else would we be there? How else would we have procreated? Tinder didn't exist at the time. You can't hide behind the screen all the time. You know, and I think dating apps are amazing, but I think you got to be able to do both. I think overall, for sure. And with AI and intimacy robots and sex robots coming and all of that, it's like people are going to get more like adult videos on the internet. People have more to do at home. The incentive to leave the house is less because they can entertain themselves in all sorts of unhealthy ways, I think. Yeah.
That's a good point. The incentive to leave the house is less and less. I mean, I literally brag about the fact that I only leave the house 3 times a week to go to the gym. That's it. And if I had a gym in the building, I wouldn't leave it at all. There's zero incentive for me. I got
Same for her. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's like an introvert's dream. It's like, what do you mean, like COVID restrictions? I'm at home anyways. Like, you know. So I have my walking treadmill desk at home. So I get all my steps in. I got my office there. I got my racing simulator. Food gets delivered to my house. We found a butcher the other day where I can now even get my like locally sourced meat directly delivered. So it was like, why the fuck would I leave the house? For what? Well, outside, I'm just starting to sweat outside. It's sunny, like, you know, so I'm very much like that. It's a very good point. And most guys, of course, never get to actually talk to people, because I think like the average guy in his 20s 100 years ago has had, you know, thousands of more conversations than the average guy nowadays. And I mean, you notice it even when you do go outside, you want to order some food. Now, a lot of times you have a QR code menu where you just order it on the phone instead of talking to the waiter. You know, you go to McDonald's, you have the checkout terminals and stuff like that. So there is less incentive. In fact, I've talked to Jeffrey Allen, ours Jeffy. He was actually one of the first people on the podcast as well. And then he said their rate of people buying their in-person coachings for $3,000 and then not showing up has increased. So it's not that people refund, but they buy the program and then last minute, apparently on a whim, decide, I'm too uncomfortable, I'm not going to show up. And they'd rather just pay and not show up and basically have spent $3,000 for nothing than paying, showing up, and being uncomfortable for a weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's really kind of worrisome, because sure, we're kind of making fun about it right now, tongue in cheek, haha, these guys are never going to get laid, so to speak. But in reality, these are our policemen. These are our firemen. These are our leaders, soldiers, business owners. And I'm like, motherfucker, you need to grow some fucking balls, because... And then these are the fathers of the next generation. Yes. These will serve as role models for next generation as men, and so on and so forth. And I think our generation is the first one where we've had surrogate fathers, so to speak, because my dad never said, listen, son, this is how you talk to a woman. This is what's going on. Let me, you know, let's do some texting here, you know. We've had surrogate fathers. For me, it was Owen and Julian and Jeffy. Those were my quote-unquote surrogate fathers that taught me this thing. And I'm happy that at least I will be able to do that if I ever get a son. Or if I get a daughter, I have to teach her something similar.
Probably both.
From the other
Probably
side.
have both.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to have 3 kids. Minimum 3. And let's see. But yeah, like most guys... It will just get worse.
And it's so real. This lonely thing is so important. There's a book called The Real Causes for Anxiety and Depression, Lost Connections. And it says the number one reason why people feel bad is a lack of quality social contact. The number one reason why people feel bad, I say this to guys all the time, the times you suffer the most You have the weirdest thoughts. Your anxiety around this one girl gets a little too high. You worry about business. When is that? Is that when you're with your quality male friends? You have zero anxiety when you're around the bros. Zero depression. It doesn't exist. Me and my friends, we did this Red Bull race, which is like a parkour run in Ireland. Like you literally dive through the mud. It was amazing, man. It was so cool.
Sick.
And then by the end of it, it's just basically like a whole day, couple of hours, and it's raining and it's wet. And then all these guys are standing in this queue, half naked, just with their underwear on, fully in mud, waiting to shower, right? Cold, everybody freezing. Do you think there was any depression there? Everybody was happy, doing manly shit, looking to go into showers that looked like a concentration camp. It was horrible, right? But it was so fun and everybody was so engaged because if men don't spend enough time with other men, I think that's one of the biggest reasons for unhappiness. You know that as well. Yeah. If you spend time with other men, that is one of the things that grounds you in reality, like very few things. I say, yes, like get a high quality relationship. It's one of the best things in the whole world. But you also need male friends. One cannot replace the other because you get a different level of energy, masculine exchange, call it testosterone. We need both because the level of intimacy and femininity, you don't get that from your bros. Yeah. But at the same time, Jordan Peterson says we outsource our sanity. Sanity is not just something that resides within us. It depends on the people we're with. Because the second you talk to your friend about, oh, by the way, this happened, the second you speak it, shame only exists in the shadows. It disappears.
No. That plus the physical activity is also huge. Specifically with the example that you mentioned, physical activity as a team sport, but even if it's just as a lonely sport, if you're at the gym alone, is great. As a team sport, even better. So you're suffering together. Yeah. If there's a competitive aspect, you're kicking the other team's ass and stuff like that. That's missing. And I've never had that as a child. In fact, I've talked about this many times. My mom was very nice as a mother. She still is, but too nice. So when I would, for example, sign up for soccer, which is really good for a young man, go into soccer team, you learn team play, you make male friends, it's a physical activity. And I went, I think, once, and I didn't like it. And my mom was like, oh, don't worry, if you don't like it, if you feel uncomfortable, don't fucking do it. I mean, she didn't say fucking, but she's like, don't do it. So I wish now my mom would have pushed me and said, like, no, go there, give it another chance, do it at least 4 times in a row, or whatever, and then I would have probably loved it.
So where did your work ethic come from? Because that's one of the things
from within.
Have you always had it?
Yeah. So I think it's the whole Pavlov's dog, positive reinforcement thing. So for me, it was like so many factors actually. So number one, how they have there's different roles for each child within a family, and no child will ever inherit the role that is already given to another child. So I'm the second. So my older brother, his role was the troublemaker, the all-encompassing, needs help with everything. So he would come home, homework, he needed help. Like my mom would always do homework with him every single day. I have so many memories of like being in the living room and hearing my mom and my brother practicing French vocabulary, right? And she's like telling him like, je suis, il est, vous avons, vous êtes, and my brother's like, je suis, il est, and like that's how they, every day for hours. So clearly, as a young child, that role is occupied, right? So I'm like, well, I need to do my homework as well, so I guess I'll do it myself, right? So you slip into the role that is not occupied. So the role there was like the role of the self-sustaining kid. And then on top of that, you get positive reinforcement, because then my mom would come in after 4 hours of doing homework with my brother, ready to do homework. Oh, you did your own homework. Look at you. Wow. And then, you overhear how she's on the phone with grandma. Max did his homework all by himself. And then I'm like, I'm a great kid. Pat on the shoulder. So from that, you slip into the role that grows, and then you become the self-sustaining person. And that it was really, really helpful, because that gave me the work ethic, right? And there's this great book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. So this book kind of talks about the different vehicles that you need to metaphorically inherit to get to each goal. And then just like you need to take advantage of a vehicle, you then need to understand when you need to let go of that vehicle to slip into another vehicle. So what that means specifically is, imagine you need to cross a country and you have a lake in front of you, right? The first vehicle you will use is probably a boat to cross the lake. But then you need to walk across a mountain. You're not going to walk with the boat across the mountain. No, you'll use a different vehicle, the bicycle or whatever, and so on and so forth. And in a business or personal development journey, it's very similar. So the vehicle that helped me a lot before was the self-sustaining work ethic vehicle. But then at a certain point, this mastermind is a great example. You need to let go of that and be like, you can't be the one that figures everything out by themselves. You need help. You need other people. You need to leverage other people's strengths to compensate for your weaknesses, because you can't be perfect and you can't outwork ethic everything. So then I needed to kind of learn to actually also take mentors on, pay other people, and so on and so forth. And that then also brings it back to where you are right now. Like, okay, what's the vehicle that I'm in right now, and how long will it serve me? And maybe it's already overdue for me to drop that vehicle. So for me, that's kind of like the vehicle that I'm in right now. And we've been making multiple 7 figures for many years now, and we've always kind of scratched the 8-figure mark, but haven't gotten over it yet. 8 figures a year mark, 8 figures a total, fuck yeah. But 8 figures a year, we're always super close. And I keep banging my head against the wall, and I'm like, what is it? And I think now over the last months, it's starting to crystallize out that the vehicle I've been in so far was this, like, I need to be the best at everything within my company. Don't misinterpret that as I need to do everything in my company, because that was a different vehicle that I've already abandoned, and then I hired people and so on and so forth. But now it's still like I have hired people to do all these things, but I still need to understand them better than them. And now the vehicle is like, no. Just hire people that literally understand everything better than you, understand the rudimentaries about it, and be good enough to understand it, but then let these people just do their thing. Let them cook, so to speak. And really just work on the needle movers as much as you can that drives the company forward. And I think that's representative for that stage. Like, you can't get to 8 figures just by doing everything yourself. You have to sort of let go and just trust in the process. And Hustle Phil, we've had him on the podcast yesterday. He was at the mastermind as well. It was so funny when he was like, all these other guys at this mastermind, they're just saying, you need to know your numbers. I don't know any of this. I just hired people and said, do the thing for me.
I like how Hustle Phil turned into Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm trying to have the Danish accent. Yeah. It's like, I don't even know what anything means. I just hired people. I said, go do it. Yeah. And I'm like, he's an extreme version of it. I don't think I'll ever be like that. But that was always kind of like, it's so fucking cool to go through these things. I actually think building a business is like self-development on steroids. It's like picking up girls on steroids, because you're, quote unquote, not just convincing a single girl on a date to go eat burgers with you, but you're convincing tens of thousands of people in the world to do business with you. And it's beautiful. It forces you every single day. It forces you to become a better person. It forces you to ask yourself uncomfortable questions, to shine a light on your insecurities every single day.
And it really makes you put your ego aside as well. Because the funny thing is, a lot of people from the outside think that people who are confident have an ego, but I would argue people like you and I actually have a lot less of an ego, even if it may not come across that way. Yeah. Because I know this whole weekend, I shut up. I was there to learn. Yeah. I wasn't in talking mode, right? Now I'm in a bit more of talking mode, but I'm there, I'm asking questions, I'm talking to Phil, I'm talking to this guy, 22-year-old, making $1 million a month, this guy. I'm like, okay, take notes. What do you think? Okay, it's about understanding when to be a student. And a lot of people, they have such an ego because they're like, oh, I already know. It's like the average person, average with their relationships, with their dating life or in business, they have an ego because they don't go to these places where they feel inadequate. I feel inadequate. Like, not that I'm doing bad or anything, it's good. Like, we're doing better than we ever have. But still in that room, I feel inadequate, but I'm like, yeah, that's good. I'm supposed to feel like that. Exactly. Yeah. Right. And it's still not comfortable. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, I'm a bitch. Right. Yeah. Like, but it's good. That's what you're supposed to feel like. But being able to put your ego aside and then just ask questions and get feedback, sometimes nicer. Sometimes from Phil goes, your offer sucks. Yeah. Right? Like, bro, I help men find the dream partner. Should be business executive. What was the fastest 2 weeks? In 2 weeks. Right. Like, all right, cool. But it's, there's a learning here. There's a learning here to put your ego aside. The same thing is true in dating though as well. Most guys, you know that they think they don't have an issue. Yeah, they're like, first of all, they lie about how many women they've been with. They're like, boy, I've been with this girl so beautiful. You see a picture, I was like, I wouldn't even open her as a warm-up set, right? I was like, I'm sorry. Like, it's true. I was like, it's just personally not my thing, Because there's subjectivity to attractiveness, but there's also objectivity to attractiveness. I was like, they have such an ego. They just make stuff up. And just, in the end, you got to ask yourself, do I want the result or do I want my ego? You can't have both.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably something that's even worse as a woman to experience that. Like, all these guys coming up to you and they're all trying to look as cooler than they are. And then you have to worry, like, is that guy even for real? Like, how much of that is true at all? Have you ever had guys just blatantly make shit up and you're like, this guy's fucking lying, I could tell?
Probably, I don't quite remember. But I remember him. It was I was like, everything he was saying was like so funny and so on point and very well calibrated. And now, like usually I share the approach. Sometimes I get like approached on the streets in Dublin, and usually I leave the guy. I let them like do their thing for like 2 minutes to not give them like bad time. And then I share with him. There was like that guy. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like one.
Shout out to the guy if he's lit.
No, it was like 2. One Irish guy and one Chinese guy.
Together at the same time?
No, different days.
Okay.
And then this Irish guy, I was in the supermarket. First, he was weird because I saw he was just walking around me all the time, like chasing me.
The hovering, yeah.
And I saw it since the beginning. It was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I was like, I know at some point this guy is gonna come. And then he came with a phone like in my face. He used like Google Translate. He didn't say a word.
Was he Irish?
Yeah, he was Irish. And he typed something and he was, excuse me. I was like, sorry. And then he translated something. He asked me, are you a model? Because you're so beautiful. Do you have Instagram?
On the phone. In English?
In English.
To Portuguese or what?
To Spanish, I think.
Oh, because he thought you were Spanish.
Yeah, or yeah. And I was like, sorry, no. I said, why did you not like ask? And then he started just to say some mix like Portuguese word and Spanish words. I was like, so are you Portuguese? Are you? And no, I'm Irish. And I thought it was so weird.
Motherfucker, speak English.
Yeah, like.
And then, so Instagram, do you have Instagram? I said, I do, but I have a fiance. Sorry. It was okay. And then he got like mad at me, and then he left.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then the other day, like this Chinese guy, it was funny because I've never been approached by like a Chinese guy. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he came and he was very like on point, well calibrated. He was talking, so what do you do here? So I like your outfit, I like your jacket and blah, blah, blah. And then he was just sharing something. And then I said, I have a fiance. And he was like, oh, cool, nice. Oh, and then he did some more like small talk. And then he left.
That was good though. That sounds pretty smooth.
Yeah. And then I shared with him and he was like, oh, that's cool. And then a week later, the same guy, he approached me again.
The Chinese guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he didn't recognize me.
Oh,
he approached her from behind. He didn't know.
So it's funny when you accidentally, and they're like, hey, we've talked yesterday.
And you're like
a week ago.
You're
like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course I remember you.
That's why I talked to you. So he approaches you again from behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I turned, and he was, oh yeah, I remember you. Actually, no, I came to talk to you because my friends, and then he pretended to
make shit up.
Yeah.
He was saying like he was following me on Instagram or something?
Yeah, he was like, because my friend told me like he follows your fiancé. I know your fiancé. I said, oh, cool.
Okay.
And then actually he did approach me as if I was a set, but then he changed it like very quick. Oh no, I came to talk to you because I follow your.
Smart though. Yeah. At least that.
Yeah, he calibrated quickly.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How so if you compare the first guy, the Irish guy, with the Chinese guy that was smoother, what's the ratio of guys? How many are more smooth like the Chinese guy, and how many of the average guys are just fucking awkward like the first guy?
I had like many experiences, like different experiences. Usually they are okay, like very weirdo. It's not that many, but when they're very like, what the fuck, you know. And usually the base gets like they're just okay, and then some are like good, but I would say I don't know, 70% are just okay.
How many are really good?
No, very few. Like
5%, 10% less.
As far as I remember, like very good, and I know what's up.
Yeah.
It was like maybe 2 guys, one in Spain and.
In your life, you mean?
Yeah, after the game. Yeah, after no.
Damn, that's like nothing. I mean, you get approached probably an average once per day minimum, if you're outside.
Yeah, it's not that.
You got approached probably I mean, here's the thing: like, what you count as an approach, you might not even know. There might be a guy like, and you don't like what? Whatever. But in his head, it was an approach, you know, like.
Yeah.
So I would say like probably once a day, right? You even get hit on like outside when you're leaving the house.
No, that's not.
You had that one guy who's like, I live here. My boyfriend lives upstairs. And some guy at the bus stop.
Yeah, but that's the basic like I see. For example, I was at the mall and I was like, okay, this guy is gonna approach. Like,
you see, just like you said.
Just trying to, you know, like, should I go? And then we get into the, like, I've had it so many times. Then we get into the tram. I'm like, okay, he's still acting weird.
Oh no.
And then when I get to like our place and I'm downstairs trying to open the door, then he's like, oh, what, do you want to go on a date?
I think that's what they call premature escalation.
Yeah, exactly.
And one time I had been in Helsinki. I had been in Helsinki. I still lived in another city, and it's like 30-minute train ride to go home. And there was this guy. Like he was sitting like on the other side of the train and like of the aisle, you know. And I was like, okay, that guy clearly wants to approach, but he's not doing it. And then I was walking from the train to home and it was like at night. And then he's still following me and we come to the like, again, I'm opening the door. And he's like, wait a minute, I followed you. I wasn't supposed to come here. I was supposed to get off like 5 stops.
I live an hour away.
Like, what are you...
By
like,
bus.
What are you thinking? Like, you're following me here in the middle of the night. I'm at my house, like, I'm trying to open the door. And you were supposed to get off 5 stops away.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And I'm like, where is your head? Like, do you think I want to go on a date with you at this point?
I can resonate with that though. Because as a guy, you're like, I'm going to talk to her. In 1 minute.
But I gave him a lot of shit. Like, that's not how you talk. Like, you don't follow girls to their home in the middle of the night. Like that's just creepy. I was like, you can't do that. That is really creepy. And why would I go out with you?
That's
after
good.
That? And he's like,
Yeah, well,
okay, I'll go now then. Where is the train?
Can you help me home? I can't find it. Where am I?
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I'd be curious about your opinion on that, because in your example, you gave him a lot of shit, but there's probably a risk involved there as well. Like, if I'm too much of an asshole to this guy, what if he just loses his shit?
Yeah.
And that's something we cannot resonate with, because we're men, we're stronger physically on average. So, like, we never have the dynamic of, well, I could physically get harmed in this situation. Our quote-unquote worst-case scenarios is we get harmed socially because we get rejected and we look like an idiot. But for women, it's like, if I make the wrong choice, it could cost me my fucking life.
Yes.
So have you ever had an experience where you would have loved to tell the guy he's a fucking idiot, but you kind of didn't want to because you were scared potentially the guy could just lose his shit?
Well, you had that one situation. Do you want to share that? The one with the car in Brazil?
When I was kidnapped.
Yeah.
What?
I was actually.
You got kidnapped in
But
Brazil?
but like properly.
Yeah, I was leaving the airport. And then it was like, I saw those 3 guys, they were just trying to cross the road. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop and then let them cross. And then they came with a gun.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they put me in the back of the car.
Your own car?
Yeah. Fuck. And then I was by myself driving. And then...
So you were in the back of the car and they were driving, or what?
Yeah, and I was driving, and then he took me, put in the back.
Oh, okay.
And then 2 in the front, me, and the other guy with a gun.
Yeah.
And they and they want my phone. And then I had maybe just 50 reais at the time. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. And then they were just like driving around trying to find some ATM. And then I was like, I had some money saved. I was like, I won't lose this money. And then they asked for my password, my bank code. And I was like, no, I won't lose this. And they just made some, I told them some wrong numbers.
Yeah, so you got canceled.
Yeah. And then they didn't find any ATM, but they were like, so repeat the number. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. And I was like, just in my mind, I was just trying to remember the same number.
Yeah.
And then I was just kept saying the same number. And they were like threatening me, if we try to get money and it's not correct, we're going to do something very bad with you. I was, oh my God. And then finally they let me go. And then when I tried to call the bank to to block my card, it was blocked already because they
tried it. Idiots.
Yeah.
But
that was, but not like approaching in a dating scenario. Maybe in Brazil, I don't remember. But guys, they are more hostile. They just come. They just grab you like, so let's do this, and you are like, oh, you play. You try to be cool because you are like exactly as you said. If you act like, if you give them too much shit, they can just, I don't know, harm you.
Fuck. I mean, in this regard, if you're the guy with the gun, okay, I'm going to go play devil's advocate here. If you're the guy with the gun and you already have the girl doing what you want her to do, doing what you want her to do, and she gives you the bank card, it doesn't take much mental effort for the guy to be like, well, she's pretty, take your top off, right? I have the gun here, like, why not, you know?
Yeah.
So, which I'm guessing happens most of the time for a guy with a gun anyways already, that well, take your money, and also, unlike you're very attractive, so this is what we're going to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Yeah, I was shocked when I heard that. I was like, Jesus Christ. You know,
I mean, but also that's Brazil. You know, I hear this from guys also. Random guy, they're like, yeah, you don't stop at traffic lights in Brazil. So you don't. I hear this all the time.
No.
Yeah.
After like 6 or 7 p.m., you don't have like the picture when it gives you a ticket anymore. They turn it off. Like,
and you just don't stop.
Yeah.
You don't stop. You look at the both sides and then you just cross.
Yeah, because the other car can roll up to you, guy has a gun, and you're done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I haven't been. I've never been to Latin America. I've never been to Brazil.
I'm not very interested either. It's funny.
No. I'm like, I'm very well capable of like physical violence more than the average guy. Like I train in the gym. I train in the gym where Conor McGregor trains. I take private classes there. But like those guys are like real proper fighters. Yeah. I'm not that. Okay, I want to put that out there. But still, even with that, somebody has a knife, somebody has a gun. You do nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing. You can't fight a knife. Yeah. Like up to like 6 to 9 meters of difference. Like distance, a knife is even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Like you can't, there's no knife defense, does not exist.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, then we have a friend. He's half Brazilian, half Norwegian. By the way, in 2018, he showed me the natural, which was fucking awesome. That was really cool. It was like, he showed me a couple of videos. Awesome. Nice. And he's amazing because he's a doctor, but Leo spent some time in Brazil, right? And he goes, no, you know, when they come up to you and they hold a gun to your head, just give them your phone. You give them your fake phone.
Oh, I was like, your fake. They have all.
I don't want to have to think about having a fake phone. Exactly. I want to be able to walk around the way I can in a safe environment without the threat of having a gun to my head, right? And look at me, I look like a victim in Brazil with the red hair. I was like,
if you go,
yeah, you as well. I was like,
oh, me too. How come I look like a victim?
You're white.
I could be Brazilian. No, am I not a little darker skin wise? No. It's obvious I'm not Brazilian. Okay, shit.
Yeah, I'm more so with the hair, but like you, no, you're not Brazilian.
Damn it.
Yeah, you look like a rich white guy.
Yeah, stupid way. Yeah. I have so many friends of mine. They're like, oh no, it's great, Brazil, Rio, and then you ask more questions, and they're like, yeah, I mean, you know, just don't wear expensive clothes, don't have your phone in your hand, don't wear your rollie, and then I'm like, well, that sucks, man. Why would I go there then?
Exactly.
Even myself, when I go to Brazil, like my ring, usually when I left house, usually I turn this like this.
Oh, without the stone on it.
I just played because I saw, I think a week ago, one guy, he had his like finger like.
Oh, bit off? They bit off his finger?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Not the complete, but you know, very hard. But to take this.
I mean, just take it without my fucking finger.
Yeah, just ask it and they can give it.
Who was the guy? Did you hear that story? Someone told it at the mastermind where they got their arm chopped off to get the rollie stolen. Where was it? Who heard that story? It was in France, I think, or somewhere. They were in the car, right? Driving through the city, they had their arm out with the rollie, and some guy with a machete just cuts off their arm and then runs away with the arm and the watch on it.
That's ridiculous. The same is not the same, obviously, but like London is very similar. I have a lot of clients in London, and they say, no, you don't walk around with your rollie on. Like that, you don't walk around. In London.
Has it gotten that bad or
No, you
what?
do not walk around with your watch. Because it happened to them that they walk out of the Londoner hotel or something.
Yeah.
Gone immediately.
Damn.
Yeah. And it's guns and it's knives and it's machetes. If you just walk around normally, it's fine, but you don't want to have. I had a client come over. We did a boot camp. From Australia, he came. We did like a 6-day thing. And I told him, don't walk around with your phone like this. He goes, don't walk around. Because when I open it, I hold it like this to check fucking Google Maps and put it right back in. It's like, don't. And then, so I do 3 days with him. And then one of my coaches does 3 days with him. On the day when I'm not there, some guy hits his hand driving by, snatches the phone and it's gone. It's like, I told you. Yeah, London is not. London, you don't want to be.
We were there when we were there in 2021. Or to see the Rolling Stones. It was chill.
Yeah.
Well, was it that bad already then? And that was just
no,
lucky,
it's gotten
or?
worse. It's gotten worse over the last couple of years. Yeah, for sure. No, you can be all right, but like the Rollies, I hear this all the time, and I have a lot of clients in London. They all say the same thing. Yeah.
Why is it bad now?
I don't know.
What happened?
I don't know. I'm not political. I don't have the knowledge. I don't understand. I just know that it's getting definitely worse. And it's just like, that's why I understand why people still want to go to Dubai, right? I've been to Dubai, and it's like, there's nice things about it. I know your stance on it. But there's nice things about it. But for me, I like also the realness of a place like this. You like a little bit more of normalcy. Yeah. But what's amazing about Dubai,
safety.
You are so safe. I walk slower. There's zero threat. I'm not walking around at all. Like when I walk around in a bit of a shady neighborhood, I'm aware. I'm situationally aware. She doesn't have this. She's like, why are you tense? I was like, because I have to die for us. You know? When something happens. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm like, this guy looks sketchy. I was like, come here. Like, I move you to the other side of the street.
Yeah,
come
all the
here.
time.
Like, all the time.
Go
Like,
to
I
my
move,
right,
like,
go to my left.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, maybe I'm a little bit hyper aware, but it's like, in Dubai, you don't have any of that.
Yeah.
Zero, you know? So that sense of peace is really nice. But interestingly enough, though, because I would like to know your experience, because you've been out a lot. I've never once gotten into a street fight over being out and meeting girls.
No.
I've had a couple of close calls.
Yeah, me too. But never fight.
Right? Yeah. But probably because you made an effort to de-escalate and remove yourself, right?
Yeah. Also, sometimes because you were too much in a funny mood, and then someone thought you were on drugs. And I was never on drugs, never drunk. And they're like, oh, you motherfucker. And I'm like, dude, I'm just in state.
In state? Have you heard of state?
Yeah. I'm in state. But yeah, never had issues with that. It's usually just the guys who don't get girls, who then just get drunk, who then become aggressive. But the guys who are like actively socializing, I've had it even many times where a drunk guy would like bump into me in order to start a fight just because they were looking to fight. And then because I socialized at that point, people were like, hey, get the fuck out of here. You know, like leave him alone defending me. So if anything, it's like a safety mechanism almost to be social and talk to girls.
For me, the last time I got in a street fight was, I don't know, over 10 years ago in Ireland or more so. I was still with my ex-wife and we were getting on a bus more than 10 years ago or so. And there's this older couple on the bus, and there's this, we call them knackers in Ireland, which are guys who are just causing trouble, right? Okay. Like you call them shitheads or whatever, right? Like guys who are, and they're harassing this older couple on the bus.
Oh, wow.
They're like, yeah, because this dude asked the older couple for money, for change. Do you have some spare change, love? Do you have some spare change? That's how they talk. And then, my impersonation, I apologize. But they say no. And then I'm sitting in the back. So I'm here, you know, the bus is like, I'm sitting here, and my ex-wife's here. And then I just say like, that's enough, isn't it? I was just like, because there's an old couple, right? And I had like, I was training martial arts all the time. And then they turn around, who said that? I was like, me. And then he walks up and I was like, I'm sitting, he's standing, not a good idea. So I stand up. He's talking. I don't know what happens, but then basically little encounter, and I basically have his hand here and I have him in a bit of a choke, right? But the problem is now I'm fighting two fights. I'm fighting him, and my ex-wife is just like, damn it, stop! I was like, shut up, be quiet. I can't deal with you right now. This is physical violence. I'm trying to protect you, the older couple, and I'm trying to manage this dude. I'm like, okay, let him go. And then he's sitting there on another chair, and then he reaches in his pocket.
Oh, damn.
I was like, whoa, no, stop. And then he goes, I just want to show you me ticket. I just thought I was a fucking conductor, right? Then he pulls out
He thought you were a conductor?
He thought I was a fucking
conductor.
conductor.
After you kicked his ass?
Yeah, probably. He was like, oh, that ginger
And then the conductor kicked my ass.
Yeah,
this fucking guy just started kicking my ass.
Exactly. This fucking ginger.
Just tried to show him my ticket.
Exactly. And then he's there. But now that's where it got problematic. It was like, cool. He's standing there. I was like, okay, sit back down. And he started shouting. But now the problem is my ex-wife, she felt the need to get involved. Oh. And she goes like, she starts, no, we just want to leave. And she leans forward. And then he leans towards her. And I swear to God, this wasn't a conscious act. I felt my body launching forward. Wow. And then I had him. And then the guy was like, the bus driver didn't want to let us get out. So I'm like, I throw him out the bus. And like, we get out of the bus with him. And then I remember he's here, my ex-wife is here, and I'm here. And he comes, bam, punched me in the face. Or tries to block it. And then that was interesting because I had like a bit of a blackout moment. He didn't hit me, I remember. But it was like, there was like 2 seconds. I had so much adrenaline in my body. I just remember like waking up a second and a half after, running after him in O'Connell Street in Dublin, shouting, "Run, bitch!" But here's where it gets interesting, and this is a sign, not that my ex-wife is a bad person at all, but there was a huge lack of compatibility between the two of us, because she then got angry at me. We get in the taxi, she goes, "If you ever do this again, I'm gonna end it." What I should have said is, "Go, walk then. Goodbye, sayonara, see you never." I tried to protect this older couple, and you, and now you're giving me shit, right? You should be grateful that I tried to protect you. But then interestingly enough, I talked to my instructor, my martial arts coach at the time, and he goes, "I really appreciate what you did. It probably would have been better," because he says, "You're gonna have a family at some point." And he was also her uncle, right? So he was like, "Just stay." He's like the head of the European Kempo Karate Association, amazing guy. I wasn't allowed training back, by the way, after we separated, which hurt me a little bit. But anyway, so he says, "Just have the watching. You should have intervened only when it got physical." But I said to him, I was like, I didn't want to wait for that. There was like a scared older couple. They were going to be in the bus with this piece of shit for like 45 minutes, you know? But yeah, I think that was the last time. But never when I went out to socialize. I never had any interactions, but a couple of close times where I was like, boom. And I have to remove myself because it's not like I don't have an ego, right? It's not like it's not there at all. But I'm just like, I just don't want violence at all. There's just zero win to it whatsoever. So I say to guys, socialize, but also just remove yourself. Because most guys, they don't have the humility to remove themselves from the situation. They're like, "No, I gotta sit this out and win this." And it's just a dumb choice. What I say to them is, I said this to Babar as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, a friend and client, Babar. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I told him, you and I, we have a pot of gold, a metaphorical pot of gold that these guys don't have.
Exactly.
Like, we have something to lose. They have nothing to lose, or like very little to lose. Their life is horrible. They're probably on cocaine. But like, we have something to lose. We have to remove ourselves. Yeah.
I mean, also because when you have martial arts experience, you know what real violence looks like. You see it all the time. And a lot of these guys, they have this twisted sense. That's what violence. I kick his ass and then it's great. No, but you kick or punch someone in the face, they fall on their head, they can die.
Yeah. And it happened to Conor McGregor's Taekwondo instructor, I believe, 6-7 years ago or so. Self-defense. The guy comes, he attacks him, he punches him. Guy bounces his head off the pavement. And then he goes to jail for 6-7 years. I think he's going to come out this year. He was in jail for 6-7 years.
Your life's over after that, right? Even if you were in the right, even if you got attacked.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like most guys think they could win a fight and they think they could get a girl.
Exactly.
Until they try it and get their ass kicked, you know?
Yes.
Quick interlude, a lot of people come to me and they say, "Max, you're interviewing coaches and business owners and entrepreneurs and people with a big brand. I want to get started with this as well. I'm listening to this podcast here on my way to commute, or I have nothing else going for me and I want to start my own business, but I don't know how. Can you help me?" Well, the answer is, we've literally been doing this since 2019. We've worked with over 3,000 people. We can absolutely help you, whether you are a complete beginner or someone that already has a business, maybe offline, you want to go online. Whether you want to make a couple thousand on the side or you want to become a literal millionaire, we can help you. We've helped so many people make their first $5,000 a month on the side, but we've also helped young people get their first million and older people make 20, 30K a month. So we can absolutely help you. The way to do that, though, is, of course, not by me shooting a video for you, and that may or may not be relevant for you, but you can actually literally talk with us one-on-one entirely for free. And the way that works is I'm going to put a link down in the description below, brings you to a quick application. You fill that out, takes you 30 seconds, just some base information about who you are, where you are right now, what your goals are, and so on and so forth. And then you can book the exact date and time where you want to talk to us, either to me directly or to someone from my team. It's entirely for free. We're actually known to give so much value and an exact step-by-step plan for free on these calls. And of course, we can also talk about what it would potentially look like to be working together with us to bring you to your goals. So that being said, link down in the description below. Open it as a new tab, and then you can book that right after the podcast that you're watching / listening to right now. So that being said, go enjoy that, and now back to the episode.
You mentioned earlier you do in-person coachings as well, right? We call them boot camps within the niche. Do you guys coach together, or is it always just you? Do you take her sometimes with you?
Sometimes I go with him
nice.
to have some guys. Yeah.
Sometimes I would send her into an interaction.
Of course, to save the interaction.
To save the interaction. Yeah, exactly.
So
Just go in a social proof, make it easier,
Yeah.
like opens quicker. 90% of the time I do it myself, I would say. When it's in Dublin, then you join sometimes. And it's also good because she can listen in and then give me feedback. For example, we had this one client, amazing guy, software engineer from the US. So funny, super lovely guy. But he goes into remember the Jeremy? Amazing guy, right? But he goes into this interaction with this girl and he goes, so I don't know, the conversation went from squatting to are you a stripper? Have you tried cocaine? Literally, I was like, have you heard of calibration, bruv? Right?
Yes, it was so cringe out of nowhere because the girls, they were also Brazilians and they had like gym outfit. And then they were talking about squats and thing. And then he asked her if she had had cocaine.
Yeah, just like David said, I'm supposed to make it fun. You know? I was like, all right, that's not what I meant.
Like, have you ever had sex with each other?
Boom. After squats, I saw you guys fucked before.
And I was talking Portuguese to them. Oh, don't.
He's just joking.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's a very cool guy, but
he's my B player, remember?
Yeah. Oh my.
How do guys that are on the coaching in person react to you? Do they get intimidated? Do they trust your feedback?
I think they do trust. Usually I think they're gonna be shy if I'm there. Usually I tell David, don't call me because they won't share everything because I'm a girl.
Because I also call her into, most of what we do is online, so I call her into the Zoom call sometimes.
Oh, that's cool.
But she thinks, you think they're gonna get a little shy and they don't want to share as much?
Yeah, because I would get shy and then I wouldn't share, that's why I think. But they actually...
But they love it. They love it.
Yeah, and then they ask questions.
Also, sometimes they don't believe me. If I tell them, they're like, no, girls actually XYZ, they like this, right? Or we have a client who's a girl. For example, we have a client, he's in a relationship, the girl goes to Ibiza for a week. Like, all right, cool. And then there were like some nuances around that situation. And then like she brought her female perspective. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, really? Is it like that? So it's like nicely reinforcing for them to hear it from her sometimes.
Yeah. I think they...
How do the girls react to you when you guys are out somewhere and the client is talking to girls and then you come in? Do they get confused? Like, why does this guy know a girl like this? Do they get intimidated? Do they try to get in a competition?
Like the girls, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I think they feel more safe. I think.
Okay.
Because if they're not like doing well, and then if I come, and then it's kind of, how do you say it? Social proof? Yeah. And then I feel like the girl stands and then they relax a little bit.
You seem very well attuned to reading body language, reading mimics of people. Do you think that is something that you've had from the beginning on, that is maybe, women have that genetically, or is it something that you've learned over the years? I know it was how it was for me. I had no clue. I had zero understanding and I had to learn it the hard way. How was it for you? I
think as far as I remember, I always had this because I used to be very, very shy when I was a child. Like I have an older sister, and she's more extroverted. And she was like talking to everybody and make fun. And then I was like, I would love to be like her. And I was just always like quiet and observing. And then I think, I don't know if it's my personality, and also I developed this of like reading people.
You see, it's the roles we've talked about before. The sister's the outgoing one, and you're like, okay, well, I'll be the quiet and observing. And from that on, you kind of notice the body languages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I also read a book like about like body language, like in the past like many years ago. Yeah, and like
and you studied sociology and
and
you have a master's in that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, from a really good
master's
university.
degree. There you go.
Yeah.
There
Back
you
in Brazil.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you guys keep mentioning from Brazil? Does it matter if it's from what university?
It's a habit, Like I usually say it like that. When you have like a certain phrase and it's always like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like when you tell a certain story so many times, like I'm asking from Brazil, because like maybe I don't know. It's just a phrase that's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm always surprised when someone gets a degree, because in my head I'm like, yeah, I did the thing and I fucking canceled that shit once I found something that I like better. So I never made it to get a degree, but a master's degree is pretty impressive. What did you want to become when you studied that? What was your goal?
It was like to be a teacher in university. Yeah.
A professor, basically.
Professor.
All right.
Yeah. But then like my master was like one of the best experience in my life, but also it was a bit like traumatizing because my supervisor at the time, he was very, I can't say like asshole, but very demanding, and he wasn't helping me that much. Yeah, and then was I need a little break because I want to do like the PhD.
Oh wow!
I need to have a break.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you have to write a master thesis? Is that what was it about?
It was about education, environmental education in sociology.
What does that mean?
It means like how, because there are like 3 types of kind of environmental educations, like the pragmatism and the criticism, and the third is like the conservative.
Okay.
And then we were just like discussing the 3 points, what makes more sense.
How many parallels from what you studied do you now see in what you guys teach? If there is any at all. I know that, sorry to interrupt, I know that my mom, for example, she's a psychotherapist. And we often talk about concepts. Now not as much anymore, but when I still was a dating coach, I would just talk to her about all these concepts. And she's like, how the hell do you know this? I learned this at my master thesis. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm picking up girls, you know. So I wonder how it is from sociology. Are there any parallels?
It's more about like a relationship and kind of like the monogamic thing. Like, because I have this understanding about how society works in relationship. I think like monogamic like relationship, it's more social and cultural than biological. Yeah.
True.
And then like you have like biological needs that need to be done.
Yeah.
And then social needs. And that's why, like since before I know him, for me I'm more like open-minded to know like having more than one partner, not partner like boyfriend, but just release your biological needs. If you.
That's there's a great book called Sex at Dawn. Have you ever read that?
No.
I have. Yeah.
I forgot the authors, but it's saying exactly the same. I love what you said. It's like monogamy is more based in social factors than biological factors, and then this book goes into that in quite in depth. You know, brings up a bunch of arguments of like where does monogamy even come from if it is biological, because there's no biological base for it. But yeah, it's weird. Like from a societal standpoint, it's how would you say? There's a lot of stigma around it. Yeah. Like, oh, you don't love your partner if you feel the need to sleep with someone else. And it's weird because people oftentimes, it's almost like it's like they're the definition of love. It's like, well, I know what love is and you apparently don't.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of feels like only their definition of love is the only valid one. And funny enough, I once saw a movie completely randomly. It's called Whatever Works. I just saw it once, and it's basically like about 4 or 5 different people, and they're all in weird relationships, but it works for them. Right? So like one woman is just in a relationship with 2 other men at the same time, and the men are friends, and they know about that. And it works, right? So this whole idea of whatever works, I found quite fascinating because love is very subjective. It's arguably the most subjective thing in the world. So there probably are, as many different definitions of love as there's humans on this earth. So I feel like a lot of people should not bow to societal pressure and just feel like I got to live life like this. I got to be monogamous, or the other way too. Like I got to be polyamorous, whatever. Just because people tell me I need to. And that's, I think, a wonderful thing that a lot of people should have. Like, as long as everybody's honest, as long as everybody, is protecting themselves and their loved ones and is straightforward. I'd rather have that, for example, than being in a quote unquote monogamous relationship, but then everybody's lying and cheating to each other just to maintain that social status of it. So
because I think probably monogamy makes sense statistically, probably for 90% of people, 95% of people, or whatever it is. All of my clients who come to me, they want that. And I say, that's fine. Just Gary Vee talks about that. Just understand why you want that. Do you want it because it's you or because somebody put that there? And if it's really because like it's inherently what I want to do. For example, I wanted to go through a period where I just wanted to date. And then I was like, and then something changed within me. Because we're not static. We're living, breathing systems. So Gunther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, he says this all the time. We're living, breathing systems. We evolve. It's like, it's exactly that point. Do I do it because somebody else told me that I'm supposed to do this, or because I feel inherently like this is the right thing for me now? Because 60% of all normal marriages fail because people aren't honest. They're not radically honest.
Yeah.
They say one thing and then something completely different happens. You know this. Guys, they pretend to be one guy and then 6 months later, the real self comes out when they think they got her.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, here's the real like needy you. It's like, I can play the cool guy for a couple of months. I can do the thing. And then my real bitch self comes out, right? It's like this. That's why I tell people you got to have like radical honesty. Over communicate. It's probably to my detriment, but I overshare. I overshare a lot, which is probably to my detriment, but I would rather have it this way and then realize, okay, 90% of people aren't right for you anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're not compatible with them, but I'd rather find that out sooner than later. For example, in our building, we have a sauna, and it's a cool building, interesting people, but I'll talk to people very frankly about whatever I believe, right? Whatever, like, and I say that quickly, right? For example, don't need to go into detail, but like, I share my politically incorrect opinions quickly, and then I realize some guys are like, a little offended, cool, no worries, then I'm not going to go down that road. I don't need to insult you. And other people are like, oh yeah, we dislike the
finally
same thing.
Someone that speaks up.
Exactly. For example, one thing that I say, and by the way, this is just personal preference. I was telling the story in the sauna, and there were like a couple of guys, and I said, look, I was in Berlin 6 months ago. Berlin is a little too alternative for me because we were in a nightclub. There was this one girl dancing. Her armpit hair was so long I could have flossed with it, right? And I was like, just not my thing. And then you get varying reactions to, right? I was like, cool, you do your thing. I want everybody to live and do whatever they want, right? But I also know what I want. And I think guys don't communicate that. They're too filtered. They're so worried about their expression and how it's going to be perceived. It's like, no, if you don't, you already believe it anyway. So if you don't say it now, it's going to come out in 6 months when you finally feel safe around her. So you might as well, because radical honesty is a pre-screening mechanism for me for compatibility.
Arguably, it's the same with women too, though. Women can hold back their craziness for many, many months.
Yeah.
And then you get in a relationship with that woman and you're like, months later, you're like, oh, you are really crazy. Like you are really, jealous, for example. Like you acted cool the whole time, but now, because you're hungry right now, I can see the real you's coming out. As a guy, I always tried, every woman that I was in a relationship with up to this point, I always tried to test the girl and on purpose put her in stressful situations just to see if she's gonna be crazy. I've said this example many times with us. Is like the first vacation we flew on was to Thailand, and it was very you're jet lagged, you're tired, long flights, and you got to switch flights in Bangkok to fly to the island. And I've had many times where a girl would then start being quote unquote bitchy in situations like that, but she was always nice. Yeah. She was always cute and funny, and even when she was tired and hungry. So that's like a way to test the other person, whether you're a guy or a girl. Is like get them in a stressful situation, see how they react. So you don't have to then see it when you're 6 months in.
Yeah, exactly. But most guys, they don't do that because they wait until 6 months in until they finally feel safe.
Yeah.
But as like, I think one of the things to aim for as a general thing is like, in terms of a qualification criteria, in terms of the selection of the right woman, I say it's high self-esteem or low score in eroticism, like a proclivity to experience negative emotions. Because funny enough, I would argue I would score higher in eroticism. I have to go to the gym. I have to get fucking sunlight. You've been always working out, right? Yeah. It's like if I don't do that, in 3 to 5 days, I'm not going to be myself, right? Yeah. She can go to the gym. She doesn't need to. Like she hates ice baths. She doesn't need that. Her brain is just happy. I was like, I'm envious of your brain. Yeah. This is amazing, But like, for me, I also know it also has its advantages, right? But like my habits have to be on point, right?
Same.
And I know I'm difficult to be in a relationship with, right? Like I'm the more difficult one to be in a relationship with, for sure. And I just want most men, like again, but then again, they probably can be one person who's a little bit calmer and then balances the other person out. But I think aim for somebody who, the reason you probably didn't have arguments is because if both people are more secure within themselves and don't get easily offended, don't misinterpret things in the wrong way. Like if they have like good character traits, that's super important. And as you're saying, like you realize that when you travel, you realize that when you go on little adventures together, it's not just the length of the experience, but like also the intensity. Like, are you put into stressful situations? Like we've moved around like so much in so many situations. I don't think I've ever seen you freak out one time. No one time. Me, I'm like in the airport, I'm like, fuck, this morning. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be late. You know?
I have that too. Yeah, we're very similar in this regard, and I think you're very similar to my girlfriend. Being balancing out, being more chill.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, fuck, gotta make shit happen, gotta do this, you know. Because I didn't want to be late. I was like, fuck, we're gonna be 3 minutes late. The German didn't be coming out.
Yeah, I hate that too.
know?
I hate being late. It's the fucking worst. How do you test men, or how have you been testing men? How have you tested him?
I can't say it. I can't say reveal my secret.
Come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
No, I'm joking. How? I don't know.
I'm sure you do it. 100% you do at least subconsciously. But there's got to be certain things that you roll out.
For me, at the beginning, I don't know, because it's again. Usually, I mention Brazil because the culture is very different, like the jealousy and stuff. And then usually Brazilians, they are very like jealous. And at the beginning, like we were walking, and then this guy looking at me, and I was like, let's see if he's jealous. So the guy looked at me, tell you, you're very pretty. That's not the reaction I was expecting, you know. And then something like this, like if there's some guy looking at me, I let him know just to see his reaction. How would be like, no, who's that guy? What the fuck? No, he's not. Oh, nice. Yeah, I tell you all the time, you're very beautiful. So I was like, okay. So
that's not what you want.
Yeah, I want some reactions. Just to see, not that I really want him to be like a jealous guy, and then. But just to feel like, no, okay, she's mine, so you fuck off. Mainly, I don't know if I test him.
So you wanted reactions like this, but he didn't give those reactions to you?
Not like very hard, like something very reactive.
And how did it make you feel then when he's not displaying jealousy?
I was like, I'm too loose. No, he needs to, you know. Yeah, but nowadays he's more a little bit not jealous. I play that, don't do this, but it's kind of nice when he shows a little bit like, no, who are you talking to? So
a little bit territorial.
I even think like you might just do it just to be nice to her.
Probably.
Like, I'm gonna act all jealous now.
Ooh.
Who is this? What an asshole.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him.
No, in fairness, it's probably both, right? Like I've heard, because for us it's unusual, probably say like with you, we have unusually transparent conversations around dating and the dynamics that most people probably wouldn't have. So I've had like a meta level understanding, like most people wouldn't have that conversation. Yeah. And now I'm like, I'm aware, okay, well maybe I can not change who I am, but help her feel secure in the relationship. I would say, am I jealous? I don't know. I think I'm reasonably jealous. I was like, and again, what does that mean, right? But same with love. I think there's like different definitions. I don't like to be controlling in a sense. I was like, I just say there's certain things that I'm willing to tolerate, certain things that I'm not willing to tolerate. But like then we communicate them very openly and honestly. And then I think there's very little drama around that if you address it up front.
Yeah, a lot about it is communication. You can diffuse a lot. Is she sometimes jealous?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
But I'm not like a very
not crazy jealous.
It's subtly jealous, probably. Like women's jealousy is much more subtle.
Yeah, not crazy jealous, but like every now and then it's like, for example, like give me some examples. You can think of them better. Like for example, nothing, right? We walk down the street, right? Like yesterday or this morning for a walk, and there's this girl who walks by, looks at me, and goes like this, right? and Fernanda goes,
what a bitch!
Yeah, exactly. Hey, bitch! Yeah.
She's cheap, I could tell.
Yeah. Or this girl yesterday who like kept looking at the supermarket. Remember?
Oh yeah, like, hey, I'm here with him. Yeah. Excuse me. She was like looking at him. If they look at once, like, okay, he's handsome. Of course they're gonna look. but they keep looking and they're like just like making eye contact. And sometimes, usually I don't, but if she's too much, I just look at her then like.
Oh.
So her jealousy goes more towards them, not towards me.
Okay.
Which is like, I don't get, so the reason it's not a problem is because I'm not at the receiving end of negativity, I would say, right? It's like a little bit like, and it's playful and it's fun. It's like, hey, like, bitch, how dare you, you know?
Or if we are, I don't know, somewhere and usually I show him, he didn't see the girl and said, look, the girl, she's so hot or she's so pretty. And he, oh yeah. But then if I feel he's looking too much.
Because I have to say, so you must know this, right? If you go out for many years and you teach this shit, you're just walking around in hunter mode, right? Your head just goes boom, looking, not in a weird and creepy way, but you're like aware, right? Like a man in business, you just look around, and it's like if you've done this for so many years, it's very difficult to walk around and not have your head twitch a little bit, right? It's so ingrained, and I'm just like, can you be maybe a little bit more subtle? Because I'm walking with her, and I'm just like. And I'm like unconscious, right? And now I've gotten better though over years. No, I've gotten better because in the beginning I'm just like, but it's
like for example, she's pretty, and then he looks at her. Yeah, okay, fair. She's very pretty. But then if he turn, I don't like when he turns his head, like to look at the ass girl, and then he was like,
it's not like that.
I was, come on. If I see like nice eyes, I'm gonna show you, but you.
You look and then tell him. Now go have a look. This one's good.
But don't be like.
No, the other day we were walking in Dublin. She goes, "Dad, do you want to go do the approach?" Just because there was a girl, and she was like, "Do you want to go do it? I'll wait here." I was like, "Yeah," but then I looked at her face. I was like, "Yeah, not my thing necessarily," but yeah.
That was very funny. Do you guys sometimes approach a girl together? Hey, my fiance thinks you're hot.
Yeah.
Imagine that as an opener.
Yeah, exactly.
We had that experience in the past. Really? But he says like, so you are like my clients because I don't know how to.
She has approach anxiety. She has approach anxiety. She's like, David, what do I say? How do I run out of things? Even when you guys were talking the first time, she was like you, for example, Fernanda is amazing, right? You ask her questions, how is it? And she goes, good. And she doesn't mean it bad, but it's just like, I was like, babe, you gotta ask her a question back. I was like, just like, so, well, what do I talk about? The weather, use visual cue, free association, right? Let me teach you this shit.
Because I was talking to him, she's so nice, but I don't know how to keep a conversation. And he was like, you're perfect like my clients.
Yeah, I was like, you're a client of mine. I was walking with her yesterday. I was like, okay, you say this, and then it's conversational threads, and then, you know.
Yeah.
Because usually if they are trying to talk to me, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, but with girls, we've had it a couple of times, but I've been more like, hey, you can do this because it's so easy. Like, if a girl approaches another girl, it's the easiest thing in the whole world,
I was going to say, yeah.
No, we've had it like a couple of times, like from online or in person, but,
Like last time we were in London, there was that Russian girl.
Oh, yeah, so there I was angry.
Angry?
Not really angry. I was just like, fuck's sake, right? So we were with clients, but it wasn't a boot camp, right? It was just, we were gonna go, because I did boot camp, and then it was just like, cool, we'll meet out, we'll go out together, right? So this one Russian girl, really attractive, and then her friend, right? And I'm talking to her, and I was like, Fernanda, be a good wingman, be a wing girl, let's go, right? And she just goes, and like, you were just not talking to her at all, right?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know what to say.
Oh, it wasn't even intended.
Like,
it
I'm
was
running
just
the set myself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, I'm running the whole set myself, the whole interaction,
Yeah, I was like, just say something, then put me in the conversation.
Yeah, but the thing is, when I then get into flow, you know, when you get into state and you're just like, bam, bam,
it's hard to give the space for someone else then,
Exactly.
Unless the other person takes the space.
Yes, they won't, then it's hard for them to get in. And it's like, but the thing is, for girls, it'd be so easy. Because women, they trust other women more than men, naturally, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was like, we were in that club downstairs in the gym, and I was telling him, like, go and find a girl and say, so my fiance said you're very pretty.
That's such a funny opener.
Yeah.
That's like, what a mindfuck for the girl.
Yeah.
Excuse me, do you see this girl over there? She's my fiance. She thinks you're hot, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. Like, imagine, like, what?
We're here until Friday. We have a couple of days.
Exactly, like, wait a minute.
No, but I don't take, like, initiative. I'm like, again. Because I go there, oh, so you're very pretty. Oh, thank you.
Bye.
And then exactly, so now what? Yeah, exactly.
And it's not only
There's a concept called assuming the burden of the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about this.
Yeah, of course you don't, because we do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
like
that's
we
right.
as men have to assume the conversation, the burden of the conversation at the beginning, because you can just exist. You can be pretty.
Yeah.
Like, guys come and talk to you, right? But imagine you say, hey, so where are you from? What do you do for work? The fuck you asking me all these questions for, right?
Yeah.
Do some storytelling, right? You got to become a client. You got to attend some coaching calls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even for friendship, like I'm more like I talk to girls and then at some point.
You boring bitch.
No, I am boring.
Oh, sorry. Have you ever had a situation where a girl would approach you or a couple, and they're like, "Hey, you're hot. Do you want to join us?" And have you ever had a situation like that too?
I haven't.
Okay.
No, not a couple.
Have you, babe? Have you ever had a couple approach you?
Sorry, no.
Only on Instagram, but I don't.
On Instagram?
I thought it was. I think it was fake.
That's funny.
You had one girl when we were in Barcelona and she texted you. Oh, I think you.
Oh yeah, on social media, on Instagram sometimes, right? So sometimes they just like, it doesn't happen a lot, but like sometimes girls text me, they're like, hey, what did she say? We were in Barcelona and she wanted to like meet with us, right?
Yeah, like your couple are very cute or you're.
Oh
very
wow.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why did it not happen?
It wasn't my cup of tea.
She wasn't attractive, you mean? Or?
She wasn't my cup of tea.
Ah, okay, too
exactly.
bad, too
Well, it wasn't bad, but it was just like I wasn't like extremely excited, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah.
But I had like that friend, like Jennifer.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Jennifer, shout out. What happened there?
No, I used to live with her even before I met him, and then we were friends.
You were living with her in Dublin, right?
In Dublin,
Yeah.
yeah. And then afterwards, I think I moved to your place during the pandemic and stuff. And then he was on Tinder. And then I think you matched with her or something like that.
But I didn't know her.
Yeah. And at the time, we were just like dating, non-exclusive, even though we were living together. And then she texted me, so I saw your boyfriend on Tinder, and then I think he's there. I just want to make sure it's all good with you. And I was like, no, he's not like my boyfriend. We're dating, but he's not my boyfriend. And she was like, oh, okay, I just want to make sure you're okay. I said, okay. And then I showed him, see this face? She's my friend. Don't hit on her. Don't match with her. Okay. Couple weeks later, he approached her on the street.
I do a daytime approach, and it's her. I didn't know.
Funny.
Yeah,
That's
and
funny.
he didn't remember her.
Of course
And then
not.
he-
I mean,
Yeah. And then immediately he called, oh, you know what? I'm here with Jennifer. Because she came to her and she was, I know you. You are like my friend's boyfriend. And I went, really? Yeah. And then after that, I don't know if she had some feeling. And then she was sending me like reels of bachata.
Of two girls dancing bachata.
oh,
It could be us.
oh, damn! All
Yeah.
right, let's go.
And then I showed him, and he was, that's it, I think.
Here we go.
Yeah. And then I was, yeah, we can dance together sometime. And then
And
we were
then?
just talking. And then it was like your friends, he was leaving Dublin. There was like some party. We invited her. She couldn't go to that party. And then eventually we invited her to our place for a bachata night. 3 of us.
Just the three of you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
And she knew.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we had fun.
All right. You played Monopoly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like Monopoly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You read the Bible,
Exactly.
And
yeah.
then,
Prayer time. Yeah. And we danced bachata.
had some tea, and then she went home.
Exactly.
The next day,
Books. Yeah,
in
exactly.
the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a good Christian. Yeah, exactly.
And oh yeah, you went to church the next morning.
Yeah,
Let's not
exactly.
forget that.
Yeah.
Interesting. There you go.
And it was-
did she ever say, let's do that again, or was that just a one-time thing for her?
It was, I don't know what happened. We met her on the street sometime. I don't know if she left Dublin because she's not on social media anymore. And then she has changed her WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, we met like maybe 1 or 2 times. But then it didn't happen again.
And you're sad about that. It seems that.
Devastated. Yeah.
Maybe.
I know. Well, okay.
But you said she was a friend of yours before.
Yeah, she was.
Was that not awkward?
No, because all the time during the night, she was talking to me. Like are you okay? Are you comfortable? She was like giving me comfort.
Super nice.
Yeah, she was
What a
very
nice
nice.
friend.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't want to do anything. You are not comfortable.
No, it was
That's so
there were
cute.
literally certain situations where it was like she goes like just looking at her.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
My buddy Jeffy, whom we were talking about before, he did that a lot with his back then girlfriend, and they were also, so for people who don't know, Jeffy is also a dating coach, and his girlfriend also very pretty and joined him on life coachings. But the thing that you and her have in common is both of you are very good looking, but she's more of like a dominant personality type. So she would often be the one that would tell Jeffy, like, let's go out, let's get some girls. And he's like, I just want to chill and be nice. Like, what a fucking pussy are you? Let's go. Like that. It's so funny. And then Jeff often talks about it, like when they would have a threesome, his trick to not make his girlfriend feel uncomfortable is to always touch her. No matter what body part, he's like, sometimes he would like reach her toe, and just hold the toe, So
that makes sense. Yeah,
that's a very, very, very funny dynamic.
Yeah.
I hope I'll have Jeff on the podcast again sometime. He's such a funny guy. Have you ever met him in person?
No, never met him in person.
Such a fun, like, oh my God, the stuff we would do, him and I, we would go out together, run programs together, and we would say that he's my uncle.
Yeah.
That's my Uncle Jeff. And then it would become such a thing, and people would then literally think. I would have comments on my YouTube channel. It's like, oh, the whole time I thought you really are his Uncle Jeff. I didn't know you guys are not related. What the hell?
Did he not have a van or something?
Yeah.
I heard about this van.
Oh, you did? You heard,
I think from Laszlo you heard about it.
you heard about this van. What is this van about? Yeah, the van stories. And then they stole his van a bunch of times. And then he stole it back because he had an air tag in it. Yeah, he has
He stole it back.
There's people, I call these people life artists that are so weird and they're like, your life is an art. Like my life, and maybe yours as well, is just this rigid set of rules and structures. And then there's these people like Jeff is just a piece of art. And the original van, he got it as a gift. He's like, some guy just gave it to him and said, hey man, you're such a cool guy, here's my van. Like, like that would never happen to me. I don't know why, but it's just like, he's an artist. And then his first job, or one of his first jobs, was the valet parking guy, right, at a hotel in San Francisco. And he would just like, he would get the car, and then he would take the car around the city. He would just drive the car around, getting drunk, having fun. And I'm like, I could never do that. I would feel so bad. I would be so scared. And he's like, no, I did it for years. It was awesome. Best job I ever had.
YOLO.
But anyway, so you guys are now crushing the business together. You're crushing it on social media, Instagram. You're doing everything online, most of it, at least as far as I understand. Yeah. And you travel around a lot. What's the sickest places you've been together? What's the coolest experiences you've ever had? And maybe what's still on your notes on where you want to go?
I don't know if because of the fact of my sister is living in Barcelona. I love going to Barcelona with him. Usually he does like boot camps in Barcelona, and then I love it, and then I get to spend some time with her. But here it's amazing. It's my first time here.
Yeah, Cannes is sick. I like it too. I haven't seen much other than this and the mastermind location.
No, same. It was just there for 3 days, and now like one morning walk, and then straight here. Yeah. No, I like Spain a lot. We haven't been to, how many countries have we been to? 5, 10? Not that many.
Not that many.
No, we want to do more. It's
because when he likes some place and then he wants to go.
Yes, for example, I found Malaga.
Was like, let's go different.
Exactly. I found Malaga, and I like my routine. I'm very routine. Yeah, same, it's like even if I need variety, then I make Malaga. I'm like, I've been to Malaga. I found Malaga 2 years ago, and I've been there 10 times or something, right? Malaga. I was like, oh, now Cannes is like nicer than Malaga, and maybe it might become this. But it's like, what I want to do is I want to travel through the US with her and show her.
I've never been to.
Like she's never been. Which is nice. Like last week we were in London. She's never been. She's never been to France, so I get to show her, which is really nice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what business can do. That's the beauty of it. It's like having a business, especially an online business, gives you the keys to the world. Literally the keys to the world, because you have, number one, the financial means to do whatever the fuck you want, or at least enough. Yeah. Number two, you have the flexibility, location and time-wise, to go wherever. And then number 3 is it also makes you appreciate things, and you can do things right away. So it's like what I've noticed when I first got into business is in my head, I'm like, yeah, all these places like Japan or Hawaii or New York City for, an Austrian for me, like these are all great places. I'm like, one day I will be there when I'm old and, I have kids.
Yeah.
And then like, I have an online business. I'm there. I was like, now I'm there all the time and I just fly. These things are so valuable. And I talked recently, someone asked me on my Instagram, I was like, are you afraid of death? Right. And I feel like the more I experience in life, the less afraid of death I am, because it's not death that really bugs us. You always said as like, I'm not afraid of death because I'm dead. Like I'm the last person that would care because I'm dead. Like I don't mind if I'm dead because I'm not there anymore. So it's really just the fear of not having lived that makes us afraid of death. And I'm biased, but I think like when you have a business, you really get to live. It's kind of like almost the only way to really do it 100%. To go wherever you want, pack your stuff, go to the US, show your girlfriend, wife, fiance places she's never been to, or vice versa. And that's really cool. And especially with you guys, because you guys experience it together. That's fucking so cool. Like really, really, really. I'm not sure how aware you guys are of that, but it's so fucking cool.
I don't think I'm that aware of it.
I'm like, I noticed it yesterday when I went to bed. I'm like, it's so cool that I'm here with you. I'm at a dope-ass mastermind, and I got to bring my girlfriend. And you guys do that even more, arguably. So it's really fucking cool. Like, most guys or girls don't have that. And doing something together like that, and then, hopefully for the rest of your lives, it's fucking amazing. And you see this with other couples like the Cardones, Grant Cardone and his wife. And the way they treat each other and the way they're conquering things together is pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. And then, on top of that, you do all the cool shit. And for you, it's like you're in a lucky enough position that what you do is kind of adventurous in and of itself. Yeah. When you have clients, you go out and you teach them. Like, that's an adventure in and of itself. You never fucking know. When you guys talked about certain scenarios that you've been through, I'm like, there's a part of me that misses it too. It's ridiculous. The ridiculousness of going out.
Crazy. It's so crazy.
And talking to people and like, that was this guy or this girl showed up, and you never know. It's like a mini adventure every single fucking time.
And it can be. That's what people don't understand. Their life, be that from a business perspective, their life can be such an adventure. And you know that I say that every weekend can be an adventure. Yeah. You don't know. But if people are just fucking at home, making love to themselves all the time, it doesn't do that. But if you go out and you do business, you come to these places. And the cool thing is, people like you and I, we combine that with productivity also, right? Even when we travel, like I still work a lot. Yeah. I would say, it's like, not 16 hours a day, BS. That's not realistic. I'm not Elon Musk, But it's like the majority of my day still focuses around work. But it's like we find ways to make it fun and then still spend a lot of time, but I enjoy it, right? And then you make it an adventure when you go out every weekend. Most men's weekend are so boring and they have no idea what they're missing out on. There's this whole world, right, that you can have for short dating time. And then when you're in the relationship, you can do that together. Yeah. They're not aware of that. Yeah. And it's so real every weekend. And some weekends are going to be horrible and you're going to feel like miserable. Everybody hates me. I got rejected. Not part of your reality. I know. Right? But for us, it is. But it's an adventure, right? If you make it, then you don't have to have like a bad night or have to have a bad weekend because you're like, I'll learn, I'll grow, right? Yeah. People, and especially like as you're saying, like you're teaching people with like be successful with their online business, which is so awesome because there is a lot of freedom that comes with it. Now I take it for granted, but back when I used to work for Salesforce as a big tech company, you have to apply for PTO, pay time off. It's like, am I allowed to travel? I was like, I hate that. I like freedom, Because I like the freedom and freedom doesn't mean just, I don't do drugs, I don't drink alcohol, I don't even drink coffee or anything, right? So there's discipline, but the freedom to do what you want, right? And you can have the same in business as well as in relationships. And I think most men have it either in one or not at all. Yeah. Right?
We call this the holy trifecta. We used to call it the holy trifecta, six-pack, making money, and really having a good dating life. Like as a man, I can again only attest to the perspective of a man. If you have these three things, I mean, the six-pack is less of a reason because it looks good, but because it stands for health. Yes. Like you live a healthy fucking life. You're in shape, which means you're moving around a lot, which is really good for endorphins, good for hormones, it's good for testosterone creation, and so on and so forth. So you got all that. Then you're making good money, which allows you to do anything you want. It allows you to not slave away at something you're not into. It allows you to do cool shit, travel to cool places, go to the nicest restaurants, eat the best foods, and so on and so forth. And then you have a good relationship. Like these three together give you pure freedom. Yeah. Because if one is missing, it's already a much shittier life. if you are rich and good looking, but you can't get a woman, life fucking sucks. Yeah. Or if you're good with women and you're rich, but you're fucking unhealthy, you're fat, you're out of breath when you're walking up the stairs, it fucking sucks too, you know? Do you guys do a lot of travel stuff on your Instagram? Because I don't see you posting, oh, we're crushing it, we're in this fucking place now.
No.
Because it would be fucking sick.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Because ultimately, if you think about it, that's what all men want. They want your life. They want a beautiful woman on their side, and they want to travel around and be successful. And the cool thing is, you look ultra successful because you're really well dressed, by the way, and you're obviously also always super well dressed, and the girls you have in there are always well dressed. That's one mistake that a lot of dating coaches do. They kind of use that format of like, the girl asks me questions, but then the girls either look too promiscuous, they're like, or they kind of just wear everyday clothes, but you always have these very cool like cocktail dresses or whatever. And obviously you look really sharp as well. But then I'm like, if you guys are traveling that much, we could show
that's a good point.
It would be so sick.
Yeah, true. We need to.
Do you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm very bad at like taking pictures and making video. He is more let's make.
We need to bring Mateus more. We need to bring our videographer more. You know.
Yeah. Also,
that's what we need to do.
Because if you were to count on me, I won't.
Yeah, that's a good point because that lifestyle aspect, I don't think we're shown that enough at all.
Yeah. But
also probably because we do travel a lot, but it's like 3/4 of my month is just like, you know. Like
yeah. Same for me. Fuck it. It's all about this one time when you go outside and you do cool stuff. We always call it milking, right? Like you milk it.
Yeah, true.
You milk everything you go to, and then we were in Rome, like 3 weeks ago or something like that. We also didn't travel with Primoz. We just traveled ourselves. We just vlogged ourselves. We just I filmed shoot such good photos and videos anyways, you know, and it's kind of cool. Like for me, like I always love watching my own vlogs because it's almost like a holiday photo album that I go through. And then there's cool music in it. And it looks
you have epic vlogs. They're really cool.
We're like milking everything. It's like for us, it's almost like it. Oftentimes, a lot of people they can't make their travels look as cool as they were. For us, it's almost the opposite. It's like we always make it look way more awesome than it actually is. You know what I mean? So it's like on this podcast here, we have like trash over there. We just put it out of the shot. You know, like. We can bring the trash back.
Exactly.
So it's like we really know how to angle something to make it look really nice. Yeah. And it's a skill in and of itself. But I think because your brand is it's like crushing it, like 1 million followers. You know how insane that is?
I don't think I do because for me it's just numbers on a screen. Because for me nothing too much. Yeah, from the business side it has an impact. Yeah. That changes for sure. But like in terms of who I am, it doesn't change that. You know?
Yeah, it shouldn't.
I mean, it does. Like wherever I go now, I get recognized at least once. Be that in Malaga or something. That's a little bit. You know what that's like? Like for me, that's a little bit like. Cool. It's cool for the ego, but it's also nice, you know, because like it's really positive interactions. Always, it's always positive interactions.
That's good.
Which is nice, yeah. So, but yeah, no, it doesn't. It's just 1M, right, on Instagram. It's just one, and I'm like, I like the 999 more. There were more numbers, right? I was just like, because I don't know, it's a bit surreal, no? Because how was it for you when your brand exploded back in the day?
Super unreal. Like I said, like it's just a number on the screen. What really helps is there's visualizecrowds.com. It's just a website where it shows you a certain crowd. So if you go to 1 million, you're like, oh, that's a lot of people, right? It's like a stadium. So I even see this with like beginner clients when they're like, oh, my reel only got 3,000 views, right? We're so used like 3,000 sucks. Visualizecrowds.com and just look at 3,000 people and imagine you put a concert hall with 3,000 people and you played your video there. That's just what happened basically, right? So we're so spoiled with like millions of views.
Because I get angry when our video doesn't hit at least 100K views. I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm getting like, oh.
But it's crazy. So you got to put things into perspective all the time. And then like again, like when I started, 100,000 followers was insane. There wasn't a lot of people. It was like PewDiePie had like 1 million subscribers on YouTube or something, right?
You went up to 300 or something.
Yeah. We had 300,000 subscribers on Mindshare, and that was huge back then. That was insane. Yeah. And nowadays it's like some TikTok girl goes viral and has, like 500,000.
But I do think 300,000 followers on YouTube is completely different to 300,000 on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
300,000 YouTube followers, that is probably the equivalent of like 10 million TikTok followers, I would say.
Yeah, if not even less. It's like, not all views are created equal, so to speak, because it depends, of course, how long the views last and stuff like that. So I always equate it to this. 300,000 subscribers on YouTube made me 3 to 5 million a year. But then also it depends on a niche, because then we outperformed that with my other YouTube channel that I think once it had 10,000 subscribers, we were making more money than that.
Yeah.
So it really always kind of depends also what audience and so on and so forth, what niche and so on and so forth. And like you said correctly, what platform. And but again, like either way, like I've seen people make way more money with even less followers and even less subscribers. It depends a lot on what they charge, what their audience is like, and so on and so forth, and how many people they have to sift through. Like I remember dating advice, we had to sift through like 90% people. So we disqualified 90% of people, because just the average person that follows dating advice is usually younger. Not all of them can afford high ticket and so forth.
They don't have the means for it yet.
Exactly. And then with business, it was different. It's like we sift out less people. And then if you're like in some boring B2B, like we do recruiting ads for dentists, like you're gonna disqualify like maybe 5%, and the rest is just in the audience, but you get like 20 views. You know what I mean? So just enjoy what the fuck you're doing. And
did you notice any downsides from the fame?
Oh yeah. When you said you had only had positive interactions, I'm like, then you haven't done it long enough, because there will be negative. I've had stalkers. I've had people find out where I live.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was weird. I've had people like, I'm buying a tent now and I'll camp in your fucking garden.
Wow.
And then ask you questions. They always ask you questions. That's always the funniest. Like, so you can ask me a question on my Instagram. You don't have to meet me in person. But again, like 95%, 99% are very, very, very positive. And I've had a period in my life where I'm like, fuck fame. Fuck it. Only downsides, just make money. But then I talked to more and more people who were famous and made money, quote unquote famous and made money. And they're like, yeah, they've all had bad situations as well. All of them. Weird DMs, dick pics sent by DMs, all that kind of stuff. But they're like, yeah, but that's not going to keep me from being famous, because being famous gives me so much more. And just because I have 1 or 2 bad apples in there doesn't mean I'm just going to not be famous.
And I did have, so online I had some negative. So for example, I had some hit pieces written on me in terms of toxic masculinity in like an Irish newspaper, because we promoted an event in Ireland. Everybody saw it because we ran TikTok ads. So everybody saw it in Dublin. And then some people started hating on it, which is fine, fair enough. And then they wrote this article about it. They're like, toxic. So forth. They go, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, David Meessen. I was like, all right. Okay, interesting.
That's sick, though, that your name is up with
I
these
was like,
things,
oh yeah, that's cool.
No bad publicity.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is interesting. And the funny thing was, so we did a seminar that was like 90% clients, and then it was also open to the public. And then we had this one guy come from this newspaper. He came there with bad intent. I have no hate towards the guy, right? But he came to the seminar, and the thing is, I remember talking to him in the seminar, giving him some advice, and I was like super nice, because like we really like our shit, right?
Yeah.
But and you could see the funny thing is they put the article behind a paywall, so you can't even read it until you pay for it. So you just see the headline. I was like, all right. But then if you actually read the article, in the beginning you could say there were actually some wholesome moments. He didn't want to say it, right? Yeah. But it was like, it was good. And then he takes out the 1 or 2 controversial moments, and then like, boom, boom, boom. I was like, all right.
Oh yeah, whistles. He was saying
whistles. So we did some Tony Robbins type of jumping stuff,
whistles?
right?
People were whistling?
No. When people were talking to like get their attention, I whistled, right?
And that's bad, or what?
No, because it teaches you to whistle at the women. Are you ridiculous, right? So we're doing exercise, and I was like, okay, everybody, boom, 1 whistle to get everybody's attention, because I'm the seminar holder in that context. He goes, dog whistles, and
the headline. Like what?
Wow.
It's hilarious, man. So from that perspective, the funny thing is when that happened, and then they're discussing it on the podcast. You've had situations like that. In the first moment, you're a bit like, ooh, like it does shock you a little bit, because you know you and you know your intent, and then you realize, it doesn't matter. Intent will win in the long term.
And then you wonder why nobody believes traditional media anymore.
Yeah,
because it's exactly that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then he said also like. Toxic masculinity. Fernanda was there on the stage, very well dressed, but he didn't give opportunity to her to speak.
Exactly.
Like I didn't even want to be there, because he was, no, you have to be here with me. For me, I would be just sitting down in the corner.
Yeah, you didn't give her an opportunity to speak.
I didn't know.
She was like, if you can talk whenever you want.
Yeah, and he likes when I do.
I like it. I encourage it.
Yeah, talk, babe, do you want to talk? No.
Because you have really interesting ideas to share. It's like dog whistles, and it's so hilarious. Right? It's like,
it's arguably even more sexist of like, well, Fernanda can only speak when you let her.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
they
She just
meant.
didn't want to speak,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, you could tell Sims. You
Yeah.
know, is that they think they're doing the right thing when in reality it's just simping.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this white knight behavior. It's like, oh, let
Exactly.
me save you from this guy. Are you comfortable there,
Yeah.
lady? Right?
She
Yeah,
can-
she's smiling. She's happy. She can leave at any point in time.
Exactly,
Right? She doesn't
exactly.
have to talk to me.
And if she's not, she can say it herself.
Exactly,
Like,
yes.
you obviously you would, because now I know you, right? So there's no need for some dumbass white knight dude that hasn't been on a date in 2 years to interpret things in there.
Often they comment like, girl, are you okay? If you need some help, blink twice.
Yeah, exactly. They're commenting under the videos.
Yeah, because usually I'm just there like
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's funny. You just need to talk more so they realize you're not being held hostage.
yeah, sometimes like my back is like hurting because I need to be like here. And they're just, she's too serious.
And Fernanda's just like focusing on postures, like, gotta sit straight.
Is that the same in Brazil? Is the media like that as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No shit. So it's worldwide or what?
Yeah. I think it's a global thing.
Do you think, how do you see the future of the dating game, both from a male and from a female perspective? What are going to be the challenges? What should the young folks that are listening to this?
I think they need to socialize more in person for sure. So like I help clients with their online dating, obviously, also,
Yeah.
but I say I do both.
Yeah.
Because I know there's people who have different approaches, and I think that's all awesome. I think it's all great. Anybody who tries to help men with that, I respect that. That's amazing. But you got to do both. Online dating is amazing, right? But you also have to learn to talk in person and approach in person. I do not think you can even perform well on a date if you can't approach in person. Because the thing is, you can bullshit other people. You can't bullshit yourself that you can't do it. Most men tell themselves, oh, I could do an approach if I really wanted to. Really though? Could you really? Right? Then go do it. No, you can't, because if you could, you would, right? So I think they need to socialize more in person, which is extremely important, right? Especially with like AI. I had the Apple glasses on when we were in, where were we? In London, right? Amazing. I was like, wow, this is great. No need to talk to people ever, right? But like, I'm social. But like, that's going to be the reality for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you need to be out there. It does something with your brain. We're meant to connect in person. Like, this is very different than doing it via Zoom. You know,
100%.
I like it. I like Zoom is amazing and I love it, but there's also an in-person component that's important. Then with AI is going to be really interesting in terms of like texting, right? ChatGPT is not there. It's not working for people. It is too PC in terms of texting. But eventually there'll probably be a combination of like the online side will be a little bit more optimized in like 5 to 10 years or something. But the in-person, I say one of the number one ideas that I'm trying to push other than the dating stuff is quality male friendships. It's the most important thing, because I realize other than spending time with you or like working, time with my friends is the most important thing, right? Like even this I really enjoy, because you feel the worst when you're alone in your head, when people don't go out, people don't leave the house, especially with the trend towards things going on. Like, you know, when people do a boot camp, it blows their mind. They never have these experiences. And it's like, you could do this always. It costs no money to talk to people. And Andrew Huberman says that reward preceded by effort boosts testosterone. That's why apps, I say 15, 20 minutes a day. That's it. Because otherwise it can lead to dopamine depletion. Because you get the reward without effort, which means dopamine baseline drops. But then when you do an approach, there's so much effort that goes into it that you get an increase of dopamine and testosterone. And there's never a crash. There's never, if you don't drink alcohol or caffeine, there's never where you're like, oh, I need to recover from doing approaches.
Yeah.
Never. You only feel better. So I think the in-person side is so super important. What do you think?
Boom.
Yeah, I think it's very important, like what you're doing now, because as you said, like with the advent of the technology, like people are spending less time socializing. And then I think you always gonna have like markets to work, you know, with those people, you know? Yeah.
It's funny because there's more dating coaches than ever, but also way more demand than ever before.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah, there's a lot more nowadays, huh? There's so many.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's great. Because in comparison to like 5 years ago, so I think it's like fitness coaches probably. Same thing.
Exactly.
You know, it's like there's more of everything. But again, it's like I think for your audience also, like the demand is like there's 300 million people in the US, 150 million men.
Yeah.
Right? Like at least 10, 20% of them have a demand that they're somewhat semi-aware of if they can put their ego aside.
Yeah.
You know, same with weight loss, right? The demand is always there. It's like people are like, oh, should I still go into that niche? Well, no, the demand is there, right? The demand is most likely there.
Do you think there's demand for women to be coached in the dating sphere? And if so, what? On what? Other than be pretty?
Sorry.
Dating coaching for women. Do you think there's a demand for dating coaching for women?
You should do it. You should teach.
Yeah, they always ask.
Branch out into we're teaching men and you teach women.
Often I get like messages like girls saying, you should do your own channel. You should give advice. Like,
why don't you?
Again, because it's not that I'm shy, but I don't think I do well with camera, you know.
Look,
I don't know. Maybe if I practice.
I was gonna say, first of all, I think you're doing great, and second of all, I see this a lot with a lot of clients that are like, I would love to coach that, but I'm not sure if I have enough experience. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. Yeah, of course, because you've never done it, right? I never felt good enough for anything. Like, I wasn't good enough to do my first speech in front of 3 people. I wasn't good enough to do my first speech in front of 10. Wasn't good enough to get my first clients that paid me $2,000. I never felt good enough for anything. I was just psycho enough to do it anyways. And then I'm like, well, I guess I'm good enough by default because I'm fucking doing it. And especially with like, okay, maybe you're not good on video. You don't need to do video. You can do LinkedIn where you're never on video, right? You just write articles for that matter.
That could be a possibility.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So, you know, but do you think women have problems that could be fixed in the dating by having a more experienced woman help her out? Or is it more like a passive game of like, hope that the better guy approaches you?
Maybe it's both. I think there are some, definitely it could improve. Like
what?
If we, First, with communication, it's the same. Like when you do like dating coach, it's not only how to get girls. Like you're gonna work on your communication skills and self-development and social interaction. You know, I myself struggle with this, as you can see. Yeah, and then when you're more, it's not that I'm not confident, but I'm more, it's kind of, I don't know, shy personality. Like, okay, you can, I don't know.
One question I wanted to ask you in this regard, we're going to wrap things up in a bit. What can, because this is always something I'm super interested in, what can women do to increase the quality of guys that approach them? If there is anything that can be done.
Okay.
I hear that all the time from girls. They're like, I get approached all the time, but always by the weird guys. Like, never by the cool guys. Is there even something you can do to attract better guys?
Maybe work on yourself. Like, it's not only like behavior, but if you know about compatibility in the past, I wasn't aware. Up until I met him, I didn't know about like compatibility and stuff. I was just like, okay, I hope it works. I didn't have any goals, you know. I didn't write down like, what do I want? Or as you say, like needs.
Must-haves, nice-to-haves, deal breakers.
Yeah. I've never thought about this. And now it makes perfect sense, you know. I need to align like my goals with the guy in the very beginning. Like if I want to have children, and then we need to have this conversation very early, otherwise like we're gonna be in a relationship for 2 or 3 years and I want to have children, he doesn't want to, but we've never talked about this, and then so did I like lose like 3 years of my life now? I love him so much, he loves me, but we have this conflict. If you know your values, and I think
that's a good point. I mean, we've talked about it from a man's perspective of like, if you're waiting for the perfect woman to come, it's not going to happen. Again, like I've never thought about it from a girl's perspective either. Like if you're just waiting for the right guy, but you don't even know your damn values.
I think they have
to. I'm sorry. I was waiting for the right guy. Okay, I was lucky that he came, but you know.
Some subpar dude would have approached you.
I'm telling you guys, do
Yeah.
Teach women.
And I think Leila
Coaching as well.
Hormozy talks about that, where she went on like 50 dates till she met Alex.
That's right.
She did a lot of online dating.
That's
so
right.
I think women can approach in person. I would encourage women to be a little bit more proactive about it as well. Because just passive, what can you do to get approached by better guys? I don't think you can really control that other than just optimizing your looks, but then there's a limit to that.
Yeah.
I think you have to be proactive about it. If you see a guy, go talk to you. Like, how many good guys do we know that would never go do the approach, but if she were to actually be a little proactive about it, a relationship could actually happen?
Yeah.
Right? And then with online dating, women also have to be aware that it's going to take a lot more dates than they initially anticipated. Doesn't mean they have to have sex with all of the guys, but women also have to understand, I need to be proactive on Bumble, okay? Because women can, like, in 2 days, 4,000 likes, you know? So, like, if you have a semi-decent profile, right? It is insane.
Yeah.
So they have all the choice in the world. So they can really disqualify most unqualified leads, so to speak, and then just be really proactive about it. I would encourage them to just go on a lot of dates and go do the drinks, do the coffee. I would say do alcohol-free drinks, because if you go on, like, if you drink all the time, it's gonna be very difficult, right? But to women, I would say write down your must-haves, your nice-to-haves, your deal breakers. What must I have? But like, these are all the, she's so great or he's so great, but it's a deal breaker for a reason, you know? Like what you were talking about. What are my goals? Do I want to have children? Not want to have children. Where do I want to live? Not on the first date. Don't roll up and the first date still has to be more like fun and playful, as you know.
How
right?
good is your sperm count? Because I want to have kids.
Exactly. Yes.
How many percentage of your IG followers are women? Have you ever checked that? Let's check the stats.
Can you check?
Yeah, I can check that.
I'm telling you guys, if you offer coaching for girls as well,
next to him too.
yeah, because your Instagram is not, I am the guy, here's how to get the women. It's always you two. I mean, sure, you're usually the one who rambles.
Yeah.
But like and also like the perspectives are very good. So I'm sure 5 to 10%.
Yeah, let's see.
And that's still a lot of people. 5 to 10% of a million, that's still...
Total followers, let's see.
I'd be super curious now.
12.7%.
Do you see? 12.7% out of a million, that's...
120.
120,000 women.
Yeah.
All right. So imagine you have an Instagram account with 120,000 followers, right? And you'd be like, I can't monetize 120. Yeah, okay, 120. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, true.
I'm not antagonizing you or anything. I'm just
No,
rambling because
absolutely,
it's something that excites me. But what I would do is I would do a story of you two, and you'd be like, hey, we're gonna have a poll underneath here. Vote yes or no if we do a webinar purely for women. And here's the 3 results that we'll teach you in the webinar. Number 1, how to get the right guy. Number 2, how to keep the right guy. Number 3, whatever, how to make the wrong guys disappear out of your life. We'll do a free webinar. It's going to be a 1-hour session just with us together. Would you do it, yes or no? Then just look at the votes, all right? Notes. And it's be like, please only women. Like, not the guys. Well, I want to know it too. And it's like, if you're a woman watching this, please vote here. We'll literally do this for free for you guys. And if it's, whatever, enough people, you just look at the total votes. You do the free webinar. Just literally do it for fucking free. And it's just an hour Zoom thing. You don't need to set up a page and an email with the reminders or some shit. Just literally like Monday, whatever, 7 p.m. It doesn't even need to be a webinar. You can even do a live stream on your Instagram. Like, you set your reminder, right? You can use the Instagram function where you can set a reminder next Monday or whatever, next Friday, 7 p.m. or fucking tomorrow, depending on how fast you want to implement it.
Yeah.
We'll do the IG live. It's like the girls' corner IG live. And then you just give the validity, you do it together. Make sure you let her talk. Make sure you both guys give your 2 cents to it. And then just have a super soft call to action. Like, hey, if you're taking this seriously, you want to work with us more closely over 12 weeks. And in these 12 weeks, we're going to do this and this and this and this. It's a paid program. But if you're serious about this, girls, just DM her or DM us, the word so-and-so, and then get some closes. I think you can probably make an extra 10, 20K a month just from that. And if it doesn't work and you're like, only 3 people are interested, then fuck it. It hasn't cost you anything other than a live stream and a story poll.
Yeah.
And if it does work, you're like, oh shit, extra money.
Yeah.
Ka-ching, who'd have thought, And then you just open this whole extra division of doing the female coaching as well.
And it builds goodwill, I would say, probably 100%, as well. So they
100%.
realize he's not just for men,
Exactly.
Which is like, I'm for men and for women, right?
Exactly.
I'm not one of those guys who's like, against women,
Exactly. And then you teach these women, and then guess what? they're gonna send their friends, their boyfriends, their brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, these guys are really crushing it. You should do it too.
Interesting.
I work with a German company that does basically the same. Funny enough, he was one of my very first mentors. Full circle moment. Love that guy. I had him on the podcast too, and then started working with them. And they're doing relationship and dating coaching as well. And it is for men and women and for couples. And that's a lot of clients, a lot of different problems to fix. And like you said, a lot of people, a lot of guys come in, then they get in a relationship. So they buy the dating coaching from you. They get the girl. They buy then the advanced coaching for how to be in a relationship. Then they buy the coaching for their spouse. And then they buy the coaching together for the relationships. And that's how you increase customer lifetime value like crazy.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, because for me, the vision in the long term is I want to do more personal development anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In the next 5 to 10 years. And that would include women. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because I don't just like, I love men, but I also don't want to exclude all the rest, because personal development is applicable for people. And like, we've been in a relationship for 5 years now. I feel like I have some credibility, speak on relationships now to that point. You know?
And the thing is, again, like you two embody a fucking perfect relationship. I'm not saying it is perfect. No relationship is perfect.
It's perfect.
But you embody that. Successful business owner, successful business co-owner together. You're fucking traveling. Both of you are in shape. You're handsome. You're beautiful. You like every couple is like, I want to be like these guys. Like the guys are like, I want to have muscles like him and be manly. The girls like, I want to be pretty and intelligent like her. Everybody wants to support each other. Like it can't get any fucking better than that. And then you add some epic travel shit to it. Like, fuck. Yeah. So awesome. for all the viewers, go follow. We're gonna put your Instagram down below. Should I follow just you or both you, or whose Insta should we put there?
Mine, because it's kind of ours. It's
Got
kind
it.
of mine.
Perfect. Go. How else can people reach out to you? How can they find you?
We have a YouTube channel. We have a podcast on Spotify, but the podcast is different. It's just me ranting on certain subjects.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I got to do more of this. This is more fun. Yeah, and then there's a website.
What's the website?
My name, davidmeessen.com.
Boom. And also, we're going to put it down in the description and all. Like, really, 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 folks, he's not just a guy who has some random dating shill thing. He clearly knows what he's talking about. You clearly know what you're talking about. Folks, check him out down below. Last words are yours, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. Fucking awesome. For me, it's a bit surreal. It's so cool, especially with the story from like 2018 that I was telling. I was like, to me, it's fucking awesome. And the funny thing is, I'm gonna send that to my friends, and they're gonna be like, "You did a podcast with Max?" I'm gonna get that. I didn't tell any of them yet, right? I didn't tell any of them, but like they all know you, because all of my friends, they're in it, right?
Yeah.
And so like most of them know you, right? So they're gonna be like, "You did a podcast," and they're all gonna be jealous as fuck. So it's awesome.
Epic stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Hope you enjoyed this one. That was a banger, wasn't it? Now, a lot of people say, I want to start something myself. I'm inspired, Max. How do I do this? Everything is complicated. I don't know what's legit on the internet anymore. Well, talk to an expert. Talk to me. Talk to my team entirely for free. We can help you create a business plan from zero. Maybe that's where you are right now, to your first 5K month, 10K month, 30K month, literally all the way until you make your first million, if that is your goal. Also, if you have an offline business, you want to go online, this is for you. Also, if you say, well, Max, I want to do this full time, I want to go all in, what do I need to do? What are the first steps? This is for you. Link is down in the description below. You can book a call entirely for free with me and my team. Of course, we can talk about how exactly you would work together with us if that is what you want. But if not, we'll lay out an entire plan entirely for free for you. Link is down in the description below. That's kind of like what I want to do with the podcast. I want to inspire you by talking to people that have made it happen, that are living the dream. So folks like you can watch this and say, hey, this doesn't seem too difficult. These folks aren't as special. Max isn't special. I want to do this too, right? So the podcast is there to inspire you. And then this free call that comes for free for you is there to tell you the steps on what you need to do. So that being said, go check it out. Link down in the description below. If the link still lets you through, it means we still have spots open. So thank you so much for watching. And yeah, let's talk soon.